Coming to you from the Mile High City. Game 3 of the preseason, the most important as far as their starters go. It's the Seahawks and the Broncos coming away right here on the Seahawk Television Network. Hello again, everyone. Kurt Menefee joined by the Hall of Famer, Warren Moon. And Warren, Queensryche said, we're ready to get started. Well, we are ready to get started with this third preseason game. But I think right now, folks are looking for the Seattle first-team offense to get anything started.
Yeah, you want your offense humming going into this third preseason game, and the Seahawks have really struggled on offense the first two ball games, especially their first teams. They haven't had real good consistency in the running game and have not really protected their quarterback, Tavares Jackson, very well. So tonight, you want to see all those things come together in the offense. You want to see some explosive plays, and more importantly, you want to see this team get in the end zone, something they haven't done this preseason.
Well, they'll have to do it tonight under somewhat adverse conditions. I mean, it is August, but it is hot here in Denver. It was up to 95 at one point today. It's cooled off with the cloud cover a little bit, but it's still 87 degrees. Of course, we talk about the elevation, exactly 1 mile high, 5,280 feet. So the altitude and the heat may be a factor in this ball game tonight.
Yeah, it doesn't bode well for Seattle, especially because they don't practice in a lot of heat, and of course they don't play at altitude. So it's something you have to get used to as a player. You try and do things before you come here. You try and hydrate yourself. You try and take potassium, all those different things that maybe help get you ready for this, but nothing really gets you ready for this except for an extended amount of time in this type of altitude. So the players will be gassed a little bit, but fortunately there's 90 guys on the roster right now. They can play a lot of young guys, and they're going to have to do that, rotate a lot of people through there, something they want to do anyway.
Well, the good news is we should see the starters throughout the first half, and even coming back for the third quarter. Pete Carroll told us that is his expectation. Once again, everything depends on how many times they have the ball, how much the defense is on the field, but generally expect the starters to play through the first half and come back out to start the second half. And they kind of need it right now. On the flip side, John Fox, he's just looking to get his team going. His first year here with the Denver Broncos, after 9 seasons with the Carolina Panthers, took him to a couple of NFC Championship games and a Super Bowl, and now he takes over with probably the most watched quarterback situation in the National Football League. Nobody else is talking about all 3 quarterbacks, but Foxy dealing with that right now.
Yeah, he's a guy that really didn't know probably 80% of his players until they got to training camp, just because they didn't have any time with them in the offseason. So he's still learning those guys. He knows them as an athlete, but he doesn't know them as well as people and as far as their personalities are concerned.
And Jeff Reed just booms it through the end zone to kick things off. And the Broncos will begin at the 20-yard line with Kyle Orton, already named the starter for the regular season, as a lot of people think he should be. Based off of last year's numbers, 20 touchdowns, only 9 interceptions in running this offense in his first year with the Broncos.
5-yard penalty, re-kick.
There's a penalty on the kickoff. Sounds like someone from the Seahawks crossed the line just a little bit early. So they'll back them up. And remember, they moved the kickoff line up to the 35 this season, so this will move it back to the 30, which is where it had been for the last 17, 18 years.
Right, and I'm sure that John Fox would like to see his kickoff return get a chance to actually return the football. And with the Seahawks being in this altitude, running back down the field again for another sprint on kickoff return, on kickoff coverage, these guys have to be a little bit gassed from that first time going down. So let's see if they have that same energy and that same vigor that they went down the first time when it went through the end zone.
Well, it gives you a chance to kind of check out your coverage units, because that's been the big complaint with a lot of coaches so far this season. With the kickoff line being moved up, they haven't been able to evaluate some of the young guys.
You're right, and a lot of these young guys, this is their chance to make the football team, and they put them on these special teams for that purpose. This is the way you usually break yourself into the National Football League, on special teams, and they just haven't had a chance to really get a good look at these guys on coverage teams because of the new rule.
So they will back it up to the 30-yard line. Earl Thomas will hold the ball for Jeff Reed. The wind kind of swirling a little bit inside the stadium, so Thomas going to make sure that Reed gets a clean kick.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little thunder shower before this night is over. There was a thunder shower warning, about 40%.
And Reed gets this one through the end zone and off the goal post upright as well. So back-to-back good kicks for Jeff Reed, and here comes that Bronco offense. We talked about Kyle Orton up front. They've got left tackle Ryan Clady, as good as there is in the entire National Football League. Meanwhile, Brandon Lloyd led the National Football League in receiving yards last year, so he's the big receiver. And in the backfield, Noshawn Moreno, who has scored 17 touchdowns in his first 2 years in the National Football League out of the University of Georgia, is the tailback. Starting at the 20-yard line. There's Moreno, first carry of the game, and doesn't get anywhere. Flags on the play as well. Brandon Mebane in there on the stop, but let's check out the penalty marker.
Holding. 68. Offense. 10-yard penalty. Repeat, first down.
That's on the left guard. Zane Beadles will back him up. And so Pete Carroll's defense getting a little help with the penalty here. And tonight we'll get a chance to see for the first time all preseason Chris Clements had ankle surgery during the offseason. Back in the lineup tonight as a starter. KJ Wright starting in place of the injured David Hawthorne at middle linebacker, the rookie out of Mississippi State. And Brandon Browner back there, the big guy out of the CFL at that quarterback spot. And another flag on the play. That one thrown in the backfield to Eddie Royal, but once again the penalty marker.
Illegal formation. Number 84, covered number 87 of the offense. Penalties declined. Second down.
These are the kind of things you kind of expected to see maybe that first week of the preseason.
Right. Yeah, you don't want your offense coming out starting the game with 2 penalties to start the football game, as Denver has. But you got to like the reaction right there by Aaron Curry on that quick screen to Eddie Royals. They had him in space, but he recognized what was going on, quick bubble screen, and he makes a tackle for a loss. That's why the Seahawks were able to decline that penalty.
They're back inside the 5-yard line anyway. Moreno trips up in the backfield on one of his own offensive linemen, keeps fighting, gets out to the 10-yard line. Good second effort. Marcus Trufant with the stop. A gain of about 5 yards on what was an ugly play from the start.
Yeah, Moreno trips when he gets the football. A couple of Seahawks had a chance to get him in the backfield. He broke those tackles and is able to get up to the 10-yard line, but that could have been another loss there on this particular play. As you see, he trips over his guard right there and gets up off the ground right there. Leroy Hill has a chance to make that play in the backfield, but just doesn't wrap up.
3rd and long. Broncos need to get to the 30 for the first down. Orton. Royal dancing around Walter Thurman, gets away but won't get close to the first down marker. Finally forced out by Brandon Browner, and a good defensive series helped by penalties by the Seahawks to start.
Well, that's what you want to do if you're the Seahawks on 3rd and long. Keep everything in front of you, force them to run out of bounds like they did on that play, or make the tackle before the sticks. That's exactly what they did. Now they'll get the football back.
Pete Carroll has to be pleased with what he sees there. And so for the first time tonight, we'll get a chance to check out Leon Washington with the return. Taking this one from Britton Colquitt, backs him up to the 20. There's Washington. Stopped at the 25-yard line. 60 yards on the kick. Talk about the altitude helping out. Only 5 yards on the return.
Well, Colquitt comes into this game averaging 53.3 yards a kick, and I'm sure the altitude has something to do with it, but he does have a pretty strong leg.
Here's Tavares Jackson. Last week, look, the numbers are not indicative of how well he played. He was under duress throughout most of that game. That said, we're in week 3. He needs some good numbers tonight as well.
He does, for his confidence, for his team's confidence, and for the fans' confidence in him. He's a new guy coming in here. A lot of expected of him because of the shoes he's filling, so people want to see him play well.
This series begins at the 25-yard line. Justin Forsett tries to cut it up, doesn't get anywhere. Wrapped up before he even got back to the line of scrimmage. Elvis Dumerville on the tackle. Well, this young Seahawk offensive line looking for some rhythm, some consistency this week somewhere, if they can find it. And you see already Marshawn Lynch not starting the backfield tonight. He's sitting out with a little ankle injury. They say if it were the regular season he'd play, so Justin Forsett gets the start at tailback. No gain on the first down, so 2nd down and 10. There's Ben Obomanu in the slot. First time he's played all season. Jackson just forced to get rid of that one. Everybody covered on that play. Well, you can see the pressure that this Bronco front 4 can bring. Elvis Dumerville was a kid 2 years ago, 17.5 sacks. They also have the number 2 pick in the draft, Von Miller, at linebacker tonight. And there's a 13-year veteran, just keeps on chugging, Champ Bailey, after another Pro Bowl season. So this is a good test for the Seahawks tonight.
A real good test for them, especially up front, like you said. They can get pressure on the quarterback. That's something they're really excited about up here, especially with Von Miller as their first-round draft pick. But the thing they're concerned about, stopping the run. They feel like if they can stop the run, they'll be good on defense.
3rd and 10. Jackson, under pressure, gets away and throws it away. But there's another example of a sack that was right in the hands of the Broncos, but Jackson finds a way to get at it, doesn't lose any yards on the play.
Well, this is another time. This should have been a clear sack on most quarterbacks, but here comes Miller as he beats Big James around the corner, and he just gets that football away just to save an incomplete pass and save a big loss on the play. That's just Tavares Jackson making something out of nothing.
Yeah. Not exactly what the offensive line wanted, but once again, Jackson keeps it from being a negative play. Good booming kick. Sidquan Thompson backs up to take that one from John Ryan. And Thompson gets out to the 30-yard line. 68 yards on the kick by John Ryan.
Yeah, you think altitude has a little bit to do with this and a little bit of wind behind your back as well.
It may be a good night to have a punter in your fantasy league.
Oh, yeah, and a couple of long field goals.
So each team has had the ball once. Each team has punted once. We're early on in the first quarter of this 3rd preseason game from Denver. And Top Pot, the official coffee and donuts of the Seahawks. First down for the Broncos on their 2nd possession of the ball game. Noshawn Moreno picks up 14 yards on the play.
Yeah, Noshawn Moreno lost a little weight this year. He's probably down about 10 pounds. He feels like he's a little bit quicker, and he showed that right there as he bounced that run play that was meant to go up inside around that right corner. He got a nice gain down that right sideline for a first down for the Broncos.
Moving the ball all the way out to the 45-yard line. Moreno alone in the backfield. 2 tight ends in for the Broncos. Off the play fake, Orton. Forced to scramble, but still all kinds of time, and wide open along the sideline. No one even near him. And that wasn't even close. Leroy Hill finally tackles Demaryius Thomas.
Well, when you have this much time as a quarterback, it's going to be easy to find a receiver because it's going to break down the zone defense behind you. Here, Orton goes on a play action. He's got real good protection up front. Can't find anyone, so he rolls out, and there's Demaryius Thomas over there on that right sideline, and he finds him for the big completion again. So good protection was the reason for that play being successful.
21 yards on the gain. In Seahawks territory at the 44. Flags on the play. Willis McGahee, former Baltimore Raven, Buffalo Bill, picks up a couple of yards. He finally gets stopped by Leroy Hill, but let's see what the flag's for.
Illegal formation. Number 74 was not on the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, repeat first down.
And that's already twice the Broncos have been called for that. Seahawks defense thanks them.
Well, again, these are things that you think would be ironed out by now if we're 3 weeks into the preseason, lining up correctly. I mean, we have drills where you just line up and have formation drills so everybody knows exactly where to line up. But so far, they've had 2 of those early in this ball game.
Backs him up to the 39. Here's Orton. That one is intercepted. Chris Clemens, the defensive end, back in coverage, gets the first interception of the preseason for this Seahawks defense. His first game back. Welcome back.
Welcome back, Chris. A very welcome back to the lineup with that type of play. They haven't had an interception all preseason, but Chris Clemens drops back into the coverage on this play, and I think it was a zone blitz where they had pressure coming from the left side. Chris drops back into the zone, and I don't think Orton saw him and was very, very surprised the fact that a big defensive end would be underneath his out route.
888 NFL Hawk. There's the number right there in front of you. You can get Seahawks season tickets and be part of the 12th man. Excellent starting field position at their own 41. Jackson zips that one incomplete. Justin Forsett, the intended receiver. He was actually double covered on that play. Here's another look at that interception.
Yeah, Kyle Orton, I'm sure, thought he had single coverage on the outside to the right side, but the Seahawks dropped 8 people into coverage, one of those being Chris Clemens, and he just got underneath that out route he was trying to throw to the right and makes a great play for a defensive end. Good hands on the play and even gets a little return.
Justin Forsett on the carry, makes the one cut, goes flying through the air, comes down and lands about 4 yards away from the line of scrimmage. Flying pickup by Forsett.
Well, this is something they want to get established a little bit more. They came out throwing the football, but I know the Seahawks want to get that run established. Want to get Justin Forsett and whoever's back there running the football, get them going, get that offensive line coming off in concert. And that's what it's going to take, having these guys in cohesion, coming off the line together.
Needing to get to the 49 of Denver for the first. Movement before the snap.
Encroachment. Number 99 defense made contact with the center. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
And that'll make it a lot easier. Turns a 3rd and 6 into a 3rd and 1. Well, that's the former Seahawk Kevin Vickerson.
Yeah, that's what you want on 3rd down. You want to get yourself in a 3rd and short situation. Now you have a lot of options as opposed to being 3rd and 6 or 3rd and 7 like they were. So let's see what they come up with if they're going to try and run the football here, or maybe play action and get out on the outside on the corner.
And they bring in Big Thomas Clayton at the tailback. Clayton gets the handoff, bouncing it outside, fighting his way and getting the first down. Good second effort by Clayton.
Really good second effort by Thomas Clayton. He bounced that thing, like you said, to the outside, and he has shown this whole preseason he can make those tough yards inside, but if there's nothing there, he's shown great vision and patience to bounce it to the outside and have enough speed to get out there. And that Bronco that he ran over, I think, still a little bit dazed as they attend to him down there on the sideline.
An injured Bronco down on the field. It's DJ Williams, their leading tackler for the last couple of years, slow to get up.
Yeah, looks like he has a little stinger the way he's holding his arm. It's probably got a kind of a dead feeling in that right shoulder, so they're going to have to tend to that right now. They don't want to lose him. He's one of the best players on their defensive ball club right now.
We'll be back. Back in Denver, 9 minutes to go in this opening quarter. The 3rd preseason game, we're still scoreless. The Seahawks first-team offense with their 11th possession of the preseason, still looking for their first points, but after the nice tough run by Thomas Clayton, they've got it in Bronco territory at the 48-yard line. With time, Jackson throws it underneath. Ball caught by Sidney Rice, and Rice down to 43, given 5 yards on the play.
Well, it looked like he wanted Mike Williams on the left side at first, and he came back to the weak side to Sidney Rice. Mike Williams was covered by Goodman over there on the left side, so he comes back to the right side, and Rice just kind of runs a little option route to the outside, hits him right there on the numbers. Nice gain on first down for the Seahawks.
Zach Miller, the tight end, goes in motion. They fake the handoff. Bootleg. Oh, he had Mike Williams. Williams fell down, lost his footing, and couldn't get back up to make the catch.
And that's unfortunate for Mike Williams because he had the coverage, he had the route won, and all of a sudden he lost his footing on the field right there on the sideline, going against Champ Bailey, one of the best in the game right now. But he comes out of the break, and you can see he loses his footing, almost catches that football, but Bailey does a great job of getting it out of there. That's why he's one of the best in the game.
Just made his 10th Pro Bowl in his 12th season last year.
And just signed a huge deal this past offseason.
Hey, he still got it.
Yes,
see guys like him and Charles Woodson, guys in their 13th, 14th year, still going strong. Leading in the 38. Pressure. Jackson forced to throw that one too far for Washington, and so the Seahawks unable to take advantage of the turnover.
Yeah, more pressure on Tavares Jackson. He's not able to sit in there and wait on his receiver. And the Seahawks receivers aren't getting a lot of separation right now against these defensive backs of Denver. So they got to create some passing windows for Tavares Jackson to throw the football to him.
Let's see what John Ryan does. His first punt, 68 yards. He doesn't have that much room, so we know it won't be 68, but let's see what he does here. That qualifies as a pooch kick in this altitude. Taken by Thompson. Back out to about the 18-yard line. 30 yards on the punt, but that's just about all they needed. Ball's inside the 20. John Ryan doing his job. We'll see if the Seahawks defense can do theirs again. Midway through the opening quarter of this third and most important preseason game, Seahawks and the Broncos. Still scoreless. Kurt Menefee along with Warren Moon coming to you from the Mile High City, and the Seahawk offense still looking for a way to get this first team into the end zone or on the scoreboard anyway. They've had the ball 11 times this preseason, failed to score all 11, including the last possession off a turnover. Here's Willis McGahee with a carry. Caught in the backfield by Alan Branch. The Seahawks defense doing its part.
Especially in the interior. Those big guys up front are getting a lot of penetration back there in their running game. That's one of the reasons the Broncos have not been able to move the ball on the ground thus far. Good job by those interior guys, Alan Branch, Brandon Mebane, Big Red Bryant. Those guys doing a good job of stalemating or getting penetration in the backfield.
McGahee fell forward for a short 2-yard gain. Orton under pressure from the blitz. Marcus Trufant, quarterback blitz and sack. Loss of 16 on the play.
And that's not one of the things that Kyle Orton is known for, is his escapability. And here you see Marcus Trufant at the bottom of the screen comes on a corner cat blitz, and that's something we were interested in seeing how many more pressures the Seahawks were going to add tonight. They've been pretty vanilla up until this game, but I'm sure this is something that Orton had not seen in the preseason, and the Seahawks surprised him with a big sack there, like you said, of 16 yards.
Yeah, they put the ball inside the 5-yard line. Third and a long way to go. Needing to get to the 24. They just hand it off, trying to get as much as they can. McGahee runs into the arms of Aaron Curry. Curry stops him right about the 10-yard line, forces another punting situation.
And Aaron Curry's a little fired up today. He's made a couple of plays early in this ball game, and that's something that he really needs. He needs something to get his confidence back. Right now, I think he's thinking a lot. A lot of people are down on him as far as, you know, what he's, I guess, brought to the table these first 2 years in the league. So this is a good start for him in this ball game to really get something going into the regular season.
Maybe a little room to run for Leon Washington as well. Britton Colquitt. Booming kick. Washington running forward, makes the fair catch at the 46. 44 yards on the punt return. On the punt, pardon me. And down right at the Seattle 46.
Wow, that's like a shank tonight, a 44-yarder.
Seahawks defense forced a turnover the last time out, gets a big sack this time out. Good job by the D. Seahawks football is presented by Washington's Lottery. When you play, students win. Marcus Trufant's sack helping pin the Broncos deep in their own territory. So after the punt, more a good field position by this Seahawks offense because of defensive plays like that. This time they start at the 46-yard line. Third possession of the ball game. Leon Washington nowhere to run. He got right to the line of scrimmage and ran right into the arms of Joe Mays. Give him a yard, maybe.
Yeah, Zach Miller was pulling on that play and was supposed to get Mays. He runs right by him, and Mays just sticks his helmet right in just make that Leon Washington's chest. So great job by Mays avoiding that block and also making the tackle right there for no gain. Maybe a half yard.
Officially 1. Inch by inch. Game of inches, right? Jackson back to pass. Washington has some room, makes a couple of moves, and a good run after the catch by Leon Washington, taking it into the Broncos territory. Give him 8 yards, just shy of the first down marker. And
some really good blocks as one of the Broncos is down on the field right now.
Roderick Bunkley.
Yeah, he was the recipient of one of those good blocks by the Seahawks offensive lineman. But this is what they want to do with Leon Washington, get him the ball in space and let him make things happen. And you saw him right there make things happen. Didn't look like there was a whole lot there, but because of Leon Washington's ability in the open field, he turns this upfield. You see the block right there, and he just cuts it back up inside and is able to get 8 yards on the play to bring up the 3rd and short. So this is what Leon Washington can do with you because of his explosiveness.
And these are the kind of plays that the Seahawks expect to see out of Leon Washington. Of course, last year in his first season with the Seahawks, coming off that gruesome leg injury the year before, everybody looked at the 3 kickoff return and said this guy's back, but he said he really didn't feel like it. Now this season he feels like he's got the energy and the burst back that he was missing last year.
Yeah, usually when you have a major injury like that, when you get your knee operated on or blown out or whatever, or you get a major break like he had with ligament damage, it takes a full year before you really start feeling yourself. And into that second season is when you really get back to feeling that explosiveness that you probably had before the injury. So I think Leon is back to that stage right now, and we're starting to see the effects of it.
Yeah, he has definitely been a positive guy both in the locker room and on the field for the Seahawks this preseason, and getting an opportunity tonight with Marshawn Lynch sitting with that bad ankle. And once again, they say, were this a regular season game, Lynch would play. But it's going to give Forsett more opportunities tonight and Washington more opportunities with the starting unit.
And all those guys need to really learn to work together to see how that line comes off and get that timing. And backs have to have that timing just like a quarterback and a receiver have to have it.
Needing a yard, they bring in Thomas Clayton and throw it to him out of the backfield. First down, the Seahawks. 5 yards when they needed 1.
Well, good play action on third down and short. Everybody's looking for, run up inside, but when you have a quarterback that's good on the move, that can throw the football on the move as well as run the football if the throw isn't there, you're going to do a lot of these movement type things with your offense. And here Tavares comes out on the bootleg. There's Clayton in the right flat wide open, and he delivers the ball. Just the second first down for the Seahawks offense all night. Washington back in and caught in the backfield. There's Kevin Vickerson, the ex-Seahawk, on the tackle. Drops him for a loss. Right now, both defensive fronts doing a great job of getting penetration in the running game, and that's going to happen a lot of times. But once that does happen, it pretty much, knocks out anything you want to do in the running game, because it makes that back have to change direction. All of a sudden now he has nowhere to go with the football, and that's where the defense converges on you. And they lose 4 yards on the play, so it's 2nd and 14. They hand it off to Washington. There's that burst. Just couldn't get into the open field. Leon Washington with a nice hard run. Good block by Mike Williams downfield as well as he picks up 10 yards. Yeah, whenever you see a back break, usually a wide receiver has something to do with it down the field. But Tyler Columbus does a good job at the left tackle spot, and then Leon does the rest with speed to the outside. But Mike Williams, you saw right there on Goodman, just screens him off enough for Leon to turn up inside and get a few more yards. Brings up a manageable third down. Seahawks need to get it to the 30. Empty backfield. From the shotgun, Jackson pressured again. Tried to catch Sidney Rice on the slant, but forced to throw it before he wanted to, and it falls incomplete. Again, another Bronco coming that time, unblocked, and Tavares had to get rid of that ball, like you said, before he wanted to on the slant. He couldn't allow Sidney Rice to clear, to really come open on the route because of that man in his face. So the Seahawks have to do something about that pressure that's coming on Tavares. Always an extra man coming free. All right, Seahawks going to try and take advantage of the altitude. Jeff Reed, who is yet to have a field goal attempt this preseason, going to try one from 52 yards out. He's got the wind at his back. And he's got the altitude as well. Everything is clean. The kick, though, gets through. Low trajectory on it, and Reed made it work. So his first field goal attempt, albeit in the preseason, as a Seahawk, is good from 52 yards away. And this first-team offense gets on the scoreboard after 12 possessions for the first time. I mean, this was close. Yeah, I wasn't sure if this was going to hook away, but it just got in that inside of that upright, and because of the wind at his back and that altitude, he had enough distance. So a 52-yard field goal by Jeff Reed, and that caps off really what the Seahawks wanted to see. I mean, it wasn't an ideal offensive possession. We're not going to say that. But the defense gets a sack, which backs the Broncos up, forces them to punt it, so the defense contributes. The offense gets enough yards to set up a good field goal kick by the special teams. Right, so it was a good team effort right there by the Seahawks. Good defense backs them up. Special teams gets them the football, and here you go with special teams getting you those 3 points on the board. But I think this 3 points right here is more important than we probably think. This might be the 3 points that helps this offense to exhale a little bit, right, to get some of the pressure off their back that they haven't scored in 3 ball games. Let's see if they play a little bit better now that they finally got some points on the board. Because you could almost sense that things were getting tighter the more they got the ball and didn't score. Here's Jeff Reed, another booming kick through the end zone. And not only because of the experience of Jeff Reed, but I'm sure the kickoff ability that he's showing tonight, one of the reasons why he's still here, and Brandon Coutu was released last week.
Well, don't forget, on Tuesday, September 20th, Sounders FC take on Costa Rica's premier football club, Herediano, in the Champions League group stage. I mispronounced that. I knew I would. Herediano. That's who they're playing in the Champions League group stage. For tickets, visit SoundersFC.com.
Yeah, that team.
Herediano. I think things are aerodynamic here in Denver, the way this ball has been flying through the air right now, starting at their own 20-yard line. Sean Moreno tries to leapfrog a bunch of Seahawks. Marcus Trufant catches him from the back, but a nice pickup on first down. Gain of 7.
Well, Trufant not only plays in the secondary and covers people, but he's also always been a good tackler. You see him come down the line of scrimmage. You don't see a lot of corners that like to mix it up like that on the inside, but Mark is not scared to get his nose dirty and makes that tackle.
Officially an 8-yard pickup. Moreno dancing around into the arms of Trufant again, but it was after he picked up the first down.
Right. And even though it's great that Marcus Trufant is making these tackles, you don't want your corners being the guy making all these tackles. You want your interior linemen and your linebackers making these tackles right now. But these last 2 plays, Sean Moreno has broke the line of scrimmage and gotten to that second level.
Trufant showing what he can do. The longest tenured Seahawk. Hard to believe. 9th season in the National Football League.
Yeah, only he and Leroy Hill left over from the 2006 Super Bowl team.
That's even harder to believe. Brandon Lloyd on his knees, falls forward, and makes the catch. Give him a completion into Seahawk territory. 17 yards on the reception for Lloyd.
There was nothing really special about this play. It's just good protection, play action pass. They're blocking it up, and Lloyd just goes down the field 17 yards and hooks up, and the ball's delivered right there. It was low, but the ball anywhere near Brandon Lloyd, he's going to make the catch.
First down just across the midfield stripe. Moreno caught in the backfield. Malcolm Smith flagged down on the play as well, but another good play by a rookie linebacker. Smith, the last guy drafted by the Seahawks in the 7th round this year.
Looks like this might be against the Seahawks the way they're pointing. What if someone lined up offside?
Illegal use of the hands. Hands to the face. Number 37 defense. 5-yard penalty. It'll be added to the end of the run. First down.
That's on big Brandon Browner. Illegal hands to the face.
Well, you're going to see those corners this year be a little bit more aggressive on the outside. That's why they went out and made a concerted effort to get bigger, more physical corners. And Brandon Browner's one of those guys that's 6'4", about 215 pounds. And he's going to try and get his hands on those receivers to redirect them a little bit on their routes, but that time he must have got the hands to the face.
Five yards on the run, 5 yards on the penalty. Ball is now at the Seahawk 43. Orton thrust out of the pocket and just gets rid of that. Good pressure applied that time by Aaron Curry. Kind of forced Orton to get a little bit out of his comfort zone.
Yeah, Aaron Curry came to the inside, and Errol Thomas came to the outside from the safety blitz, but really good coverage. He had nowhere to go with this ball, and once you can get Kyle Orton off of his perch, you have a chance to really be successful because he doesn't throw the football well on the move, as he showed right there, and he just threw that one out of bounds to save a sack.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's Moreno again. Tripped up in the backfield. Atari Bigby. Picked up about 10 days ago, the former Green Bay Packer.
Yeah, helped them win a Super Bowl this past year, and was a pretty good fixture with them for a while, but just couldn't stay healthy.
Yeah.
Had a lot of different injuries, just couldn't keep himself in the lineup, and so they replaced him with some younger players, but it's good for us to have him because we need some experience and some veteran leadership back there in that secondary, and he'll bring that.
Yeah, one of the few vets in that secondary period. Orton working from the shotgun on third down. Fires that one, and it's caught. Ball bounced out, but the receiver was marked down. Boy, what a throw for 24 yards made to Eric Decker. Right in front of Walter Thurman.
Yeah, pretty good coverage by Walter Thurman, but Decker, who's a big, tall receiver at 6'4", just gets his hands up there and up. That ball was put right where it needed to be put by Orton, who's a very, very accurate quarterback when he has time. He's shown that over the course of his career. Perfectly thrown football, and Decker makes a good catch, takes a shot, still comes up with the first down.
24-yard gain on third down. Not only gets him the first down, but ends the first quarter. Seahawks with the only point so far, 52-yard field goal, but the Broncos marching. And you know what? This stadium here in Denver just renamed Sports Authority Field at Mile High.
Yeah, they're still trying to rip signage off the stadium. Invesco is still a lot of places.
First play of the second quarter, first down from the 16. That's Spencer, the fullback. Spencer Larson, pardon me, gets the pick up before Malcolm Smith makes the tackle down to the 9-yard line.
And that play,
7 yards on the play.
Yeah, and that play is set up by running the football, running to one side, and then all of a sudden you get that backside of the defense trailing on the backside. Next thing you know, you come back with the bootleg, and the fullback gets the leverage on the outside. That's exactly what Denver did. I'm sure they were watching that from upstairs, seeing how that backside end was crashing down, trying to stop the run.
Inside the 10. Willis McGahee. Red Bryant wraps him up. McGahee keeps on fighting, picks up a couple of yards. But there's Big Red in on the tackle.
Well, we know what impact he's had on the running game for the Seahawks. Last year, they were number 2 in the league against the run when Big Red was in the lineup. When he went out of the lineup, they quickly went down because of his big body and making plays just like that. He's just a big guy to try and contend with, especially on the outside. You usually see guys his size on the interior. He's playing over the defensive end, over the defensive tackle, just blowing things up right there at the perimeter.
Cat-like quickness for a guy 320 plus. McGahee finds a hole, and he's going to be out right at that first down marker, maybe a little more. 2 yards on the gain. Let's see where they spot it officially. And they give him the first down.
Well, John Fox, was known for having good running teams when he was with the Carolina Panthers. And he wants to run the football here to take a little bit of pressure off of his quarterback, Kyle Orton, and help his defense out as far as running the clock and keeping them off the field that much. So that's one of the things they're going to try and do this year is run the football more.
First and goal from the 4. Moreno caught in the backfield, tried to bounce it outside, still fighting. But credit Earl Thomas with getting in there and breaking that up. KJ Wright helped him clean it up.
Nice open field tackle by Earl Thomas. He needed every ounce of his 195 pounds to get Moreno on the ground that time. Moreno does a good job of bouncing it there, tries to get to the corner. There's Thomas making the play, but it takes everything to corral him down to the ground. Looked like he had a bull trying to fight him down to the ground with a lasso.
Literally riding a Bronco. McGahee now in at tailback. Second and goal. He gets the carry. Following blockers into the end zone for the touchdown.
That's one of the things Willis McGahee does very well is find the end zone. He has 55 touchdowns over the last 6 years since he's come into the league, and that's 3rd in the league in that amount of time. He knows how to get the ball in the end zone. He showed great patience right there, came down the line of scrimmage, saw his opening, and ducked it over the goal line for the touchdown. Caps off an 80-yard drive. Remember, that drive started after a touchback. 12 plays. Matt Prater on for the extra point. And the Broncos take their first lead in the ball game here early on in the second quarter. The running game going for John Fox. Pete Carroll ready to see if his offense can match that. This third preseason game considered by most the most important of the 4-game preseason. Willis McGahee's touchdown giving the Broncos a 7-3 lead. The starters for both teams expected to play all the way through the first half and come back out of the locker room to start the second half for at least one possession. Yeah, it's always an important one, but like we talked about before the game, I just don't think it's a good idea to not play your starters any or just a little bit next week, because then you're talking about maybe going 2.5 weeks before they finally get a chance to play again in the regular season opener, as that ball sails out of the end zone. Matt Prater kicks that one through the end zone. It's a good night. There's always a good night here for kickers, though. It's a good night for throwers, too.
Hey, stop by the Seahawks Pro Shop on game day to customize the jersey with any name and number while you wait. Available now in the Pro Shop, located at CenturyLink Field, or our newest location on 4th and Pike in downtown Seattle. Or you can just shop online at proshop.com. After the touchback, 12.5 minutes to go here in this first half. Tavares Jackson, 3 for 9 passing tonight, back for his 10th. Forced out of the pocket, and it collapses all around him. Blue jerseys everywhere, but give Elvis Dumervil credit for the sack.
Well, good pressure by the Denver Broncos up front, but also good coverage in the back end. Sidney Rice and also Mike Williams just didn't get any separation again. He wanted to try and hit Sidney Rice coming across the field as Mike Williams cleared that out, but he never had a chance to really look at it. But there wasn't anybody open down the field. And Dumervil, who was out most of all of last year, puts really good pressure on Tavares and is relentless in his pursuit.
Yeah, led the league in sack 2 years ago with 17.5 and tore a chest muscle last preseason. Missed the entire campaign. Off the play fake. McCoy. Up and over. Anthony McCoy, who has been a big find this preseason, 6th-round draft pick last year, but really kind of finding his stride at tight end this year. Picks up 8 yards.
Yeah, he has a couple of touchdown catches already this preseason and shows his hurdling ability right here as he jumps over Cassius Vaughn right there. That's pretty good athleticism for a guy 6'5", about 245 pounds.
Now, he has made this tight end battle very interesting as far as the backup tight ends go. Obviously, Zach Miller and John Carlson, the top 2. On 3rd down. Jackson, that ball tipped to the line of scrimmage by Dawkins, and there's a flag on the play as well. There's another old vet, Brian Dawkins, coming up big.
Town of Columbus is going at it. One of the Broncos over there.
Looks like he and Wesley Woodyard. A little extra action afterwards.
Again, that pocket's just collapsing too much on Tavares. I'm surprised he can even see his receivers the way that pocket is collapsing around him. Looks like it's going to go against the Seahawks.
You can see Bill Levy. The microphone is either not working or off. But the Broncos declined the penalty, and so John Ryan will come on and try and boom his best kick of the night. He's got a 68-yarder. We'll see what he does here. Sidquan Thompson back to take the punt. Hit immediately, but gets back up and keeps on going. Byron Maxwell made the tackle and the ball came out.
I think the Broncos got on it, but good coverage by the Seattle Seahawks that time. I don't know what Thompson was thinking about. He's got to call fair catch there.
Yeah, Kennard Cox was the guy who was all over him as soon as he caught it. He got away. Maxwell made the tackle, and the Broncos did recover. So good coverage by the special teams and an unlucky bounce in the end as far as Seattle goes. Byron Maxwell, the 6th-round pick at Clemson, was known for 2 things. Good special teams and forcing fumbles. He does both on this play, almost.
Yeah. And another big corner. You know, Maxwell, another one of those big corners they drafted out of Clemson. He goes about 6'1", a little over 200 pounds.
Broncos recover the football right at the 30. Eddie Royal in motion. They fake it. Kyle Orton dropped, intended for Royal, on his knees, couldn't pull it in.
Broncos going with a lot of play action tonight. I think they don't feel like they can block the Seahawks man-for-man on straight dropbacks, so they're doing a lot of play action, especially on early downs. That time he wanted to go to Brandon Lloyd on a post, but he was covered very well by Brandon Browner, so he comes to the outside to Royals, ball a little bit low. He's thrown a couple of those balls too low as he comes off to his secondary receiver.
Starting defense in for Seattle with the exception of Ciavi'i, Wilkerson, and Bigby. Here's Orton. Looking for a receiver and finds his rookie tight end, Julius Thomas. Thomas is going to be about a yard short of the first down. Wrapped up by Aaron Curry. 9 yards on the play.
one of the good things about the Seahawks is their depth on the interior front. And even though it is a hot night, it's a humid night, at altitude, they have a lot of guys they can rotate through there tonight. And then guys that can really be effective as well, not just big bodies in there, but big bodies that can make plays.
3rd and a long yard. Oh, Willis McGahee ran into a crowd. We'll see where they spot this football.
Doesn't look like they're going to give it to him. I thought at first they were across the 40, but now they're on the other side, on their side of the 40.
Looked like Leroy Hill was the first guy to get there for the Seahawks, but he had help.
It's going to be maybe a little short.
Yeah.
They might measure here. I don't think they're going to measure, huh? One thing that McGahee has always been is a pretty good short yardage back, but he runs into a wall right there. Junior CV,
KJ Wright,
and a host of other white shirts getting to the football, and that's what it takes in short yardage situations. A lot of white shirts around the football.
So they don't get the first down. A punting situation comes up. There's Colquitt. First time we've seen Doug Baldwin back to return kicks, and he won't even get to do it. That one hit the pylon, so it'll be a touchback. Look at this, that close to going out inside the 1. You can see Colquitt going, oh man, almost 61 yards on the punt, 60 and a half. He would have been dancing. 5th possession of the ball game for this Seattle offense. Down 7-3. 9.5 minutes or so to go here in the 2nd quarter, and there you see Tom Cable, new offensive line coach coming up, the former head coach of the Oakland Raiders, brought here not only to help this running game, but kind of instill some attitude.
Yeah, very nasty mentality is what he wants, but it's a work in progress right now, as we're seeing. They're struggling, especially in pass protection right now.
Starting at their own 20. Forsett can't even get back to the line of scrimmage. Elvis Dumerville, the first to get him, but all sorts of Broncos in the backfield before he could get back to the line of scrimmage.
Again, that penetration we talked about earlier in the ball game, when you get that penetration in the backfield, now all of a sudden the back has nowhere to go, or he has a one-way go as opposed to maybe having a two-way go. And once he has that hesitation, that's all it takes for a defense to converge on you as a running back. So a good job at the point of attack by the Broncos tonight in the running game. That's what's stopping the Seahawks from gaining yards.
And this is still Seattle's starting offensive unit. Jackson back to pass, pressured and sacked. He can't avoid that one, and that's the rookie, dropping him for a 6-yard loss. 2nd pick overall in this year's NFL draft, Von Miller.
And they are so excited about Von Miller, what he brings to the table as far as getting to the quarterback. There he just takes James Carpenter and just pushes him back into the quarterback. Nothing Tavares can do about that. And again, as a quarterback, you've got to feel comfortable back there. And I'm sure right now Tavares is not comfortable in that pocket. And if he keeps going at this rate, he's not going to make it to the regular season the way he's getting hit.
No, 3 games or 2.5 so far. And this starting offensive line is not gelled just yet, to say the least. Ben Obamanu. And Obamanu fighting to get back to the line of scrimmage, if that. No yards on that game. It's almost like the Broncos have more guys out there or something, because there's no protection up front by the Seahawks.
Well, they're playing at a much faster pace than the Seahawks right now, and they have a lot of speed on defense this year. Von Miller brings a lot of that speed to the defense. They also have a new safety in Raheem Moore from UCLA, who they're really high on. With Dumerville being back in the lineup, this is a very good defense that the Broncos are putting on the field tonight.
John Gold, the rookie out of Texas, his first kick of the night. Thompson through a hole, met right at the 40-yard line. That's Aaron Curry in there on the tackle. 56 yards on the punt by Gold, but there are penalty markers back on the Seahawks side of the field.
It's going to be against the Seahawks.
Number 53 of the kicking team was ineligible downfield. Denver's elected to give a 5-yard penalty and repeat 4th down.
All right, so that's on the rookie Malcolm Smith. It will negate everything that you just saw. Just pretend it never happened. You're going to do it over again.
Yeah, you can pretend, but those guys who just ran down that field 60 yards aren't pretending, because they have to do it again. And
do they get mad at Smith then? Or do they just go, hey, it's part of the game?
I'd be mad at him, but I wouldn't let him know that. But I'm sure they're all a little bit upset at him, because they've got to go back down that field again. You see all those guys walking with their hands on their hips? they're a little bit gassed right now. They've got to go right back down there again, and I'm sure that's the reason why Denver took that penalty. One, because it backs them up a little bit, and two, they have to run back down there again in this altitude.
And you'll hope to get a better return if you're the Broncos. Sidquan Thompson standing at his own 35-yard line. John Gold in his own end zone for the Seahawks.
And I don't think John Ryan has the wind at his back now. I think it's a little bit in his face.
That's Gold in there now.
Oh, Gold is
and that's a short kick. Barely makes it to midfield and bounces the wrong way for the Seahawks. Advantage Broncos. It's finally down at the Seattle 45-yard line. Only 35 yards on that punt by John Gold.
So a good decision by John Fox to take that penalty and have him re-kick. It was a poor kick now that time. They have really good field position to start this drive on the Seahawks 45-yard line.
And that's a big, big difference in real estate. That ball would have been on the Denver 40. Instead, it's on the Seahawks 45. So they pick up 15 yards on the punt.
Yeah, on a 5-yard penalty.
Great starting field position for Denver. Orton, all kinds of time, going deep for Lloyd. Overthrows him, incomplete. Earl Thomas was there, but that was just an overthrow for Lloyd by Orton.
Well, whenever Brandon Lloyd is out there, I think he's going to take a shot, especially if he can see him one-on-one with any receiver. He feels like even though at 6 foot, he can get up in the air, and he's made some fantastic catches. He gets behind the defense, but there's Earl Thomas right there to knock it away, and he's got to be the last man of defense, Earl Thomas. But watch Lloyd go up for that football. He's made a lot of those plays.
Yeah, we mentioned more than 1,400 yards last season. In his 7th in the NFL, finally made a Pro Bowl, leading the league in receiving yards. We'll do that for you.
Also 11 touchdowns.
Really came in his own with the Broncos. Here's McGahee. Cuts it back inside the Seahawk 40. Red Bryant finally stops it. 6 yards on the game.
People forget Willis McGahee was one of the top backs coming out of college out of Miami when he came out, but had a real nasty knee injury that it took him a long time to recover from. But he's really bounced back from that injury when he was with the Buffalo Bills and has really turned into a pretty good back in this league. Don't think he's as explosive as he used to be, but still very effective.
Well, they look for he and Moreno to work in tandem. Quick pass on 3rd down, dropped by Daniel Fells, and it's incomplete. And so despite the good field position, Broncos unable to take advantage of it.
Well, Daniel Fells is a guy they brought in more for his blocking ability. He's about 200 and almost 80 pounds as a tight end, not known for his catching ability, and he showed it right there, dropping a very easy pass by Kyle Orton. And Orton showed his displeasure as he walked off the field. That could have been a 1st down for the Broncos.
And instead, Denver will try a 57-yard field goal attempt.
Wow.
Matt Prater on to kick this one.
Definitely within his range, especially with the wind at his back. Those flags are blowing pretty good right now.
The hold is good. Prater gets it up. He's got the distance. It's hooking, but stays in for a 57-yard field goal.
Wow, Kurt, that might have been good from 67.
Once again, a good night for the kickers. Jeff Reed with a 52-yard field goal for the Seahawks. Matt Prater adds one from 57 yards away, making it a touchdown lead again for Denver. Well, Tavares Jackson hoping to get something going for this Seattle offense. They've got 6 minutes, 22 seconds left here in this first half. We'll see Charlie Whitehurst in the second half for the Seahawks. Although Jackson in the starting offensive unit is expected to come out for the first series of the 3rd quarter.
Yeah, you want to get your whole offense a chance to go into the locker room at halftime, cool off, and then warm back up coming into the 3rd quarter as you get ready for the regular season. So you're trying to practice as many of these different situations as you can.
Well, the way this game is going, Doug Baldwin may as well just sit down. I mean, every kickoff has gone through the end zone.
I don't know why they just don't give it to you at the 20. Avoid those guys running down the field. And if they don't want to have any injuries, avoid any of those collisions running down the field.
All right, if you're Tavares Jackson, what do you try to do without trying to do too much here?
You go to some high percentage passes to get the ball out of your hands quickly. More 3-step, more bootlegs where you can get on the outside on the move, because the pocket just doesn't seem to be a good place to be right now for Tavares Jackson. Excuse me.
Once again, starting at his own 20. Jackson. Good blocking that time. He gets it out to Mike Williams, and Williams picks up 5, maybe 6 yards on the play.
Again, you got to go to some quicker routes, and that's exactly what they went to on that first down. I like that they're throwing the football on first down because you get a little bit predictable if you come out there and just run, pass. So they come out first down, nice 6-yard gain on first down. Now you have a good manageable 2nd and 4 coming up.
Mike Williams spread out wide to the left. Sidney Rice to his right. Bootleg again. Jackson getting out of the pocket, finding Rice, but it's swatted away. Ball falls incomplete. Good coverage by Cassius Vaughn to knock that one down.
Yeah, he had Sidney Rice on the sideline. Looked like Sidney could have brought that ball in, but Cassius Vaughn did have pretty good coverage on him. They tried to run that earlier in the ball game with Mike Williams, and he slipped coming out of his break and dropped that football. That time, Sidney Rice couldn't hang on to it. That would have been a first down for the Seahawks, but good coverage by Vaughn.
Seahawks 2 for 7 on 3rd downs in this game. Trying to get it to the 30 to convert this drive. From the shotgun. Under pressure. Sacked. 2nd sack by this Bronco defense. 3rd sack, pardon me. Joe Mays and Elvis Dumerville in there to bring down Tavares Jackson.
Again, no separation by those receivers on the back end, and that pocket is collapsing on Tavares Jackson. He's trying to find a guy down the field, but there's just nobody open that I see. And that's going to be a long day when you keep taking those type of hits.
Nobody's open. He doesn't have a whole lot of time either. This has been a rough 2.5 games for Jackson. Big booming kick. John Ryan back in there to punt for the Seahawks. Saquon Thompson, and he's tackled right at the 25-yard line. Good coverage down the field by Malcolm Smith. 64 yards on the punt by Ryan. And you can see Tavares Jackson right there trying to get some type of advice from Charlie Whitehurst.
Well, all these guys are rooting for each other when they're in the game, and they're trying to be another set of eyes for you on the sideline for when you come over to kind of give you some type of advice and just give you a better understanding of what you're seeing on defense. We're going to look at those pictures from overhead and see exactly what's going on as well, but they've got to come up with some answers quickly because this offense has looked very stagnant.
Darrell Bevel, the new offensive coordinator, just trying to find anything he can to get it going. Of course, he worked for 5 years with Tavares Jackson in Minnesota. And this is what the Seahawks would like to do. Julius Thomas, first down for the Broncos. And that's a tight end with another big pickup.
Well, you get play action on first down. These are the guys that didn't come to the game tonight. So a lot of players for the Seahawks who we're going to see a lot throughout this season didn't even dress tonight. And some pretty good players on that list.
Thomas picks up 20 yards from the 45. Willis McGahee stopped right at the line of scrimmage. Brandon Mebane credited with the tackle. And there's a guy you don't want falling on you. And, you know, people talk about all the movement the Seahawks had this offseason, the last couple of seasons. They kept Mebane this year, and he was a guy a lot of teams coveted.
They really did, and Brandon wanted to stay in Seattle, and he wasn't sure if they wanted him or not because there wasn't any contact throughout the whole lockout situation. So as a free agent, you want to stay somewhere, but you're not hearing anything from your team. You're just not feeling that love that you want to feel. And once the lockout was over, they got on the top of that contract quickly and got it done, and it's good to have Brandon back.
And he drops McGahee for a yard loss. McGahee dancing out across midfield. Mebane in there on the tackle again. Give him 7 yards on the run, 6 officially. Mebane is a guy who's back again this year, but he's changing positions a little bit.
Yeah, he's more over the nose now. He put on some weight to be able to take on that nose position. Probably goes over 325, 30 pounds right now just to take on that the two gap and take on 2 blockers, try and occupy those 2 blockers so the other guys can run around and make plays.
Broncos looking for the 44. Orton flushed out of the pocket. Not speedy. Falls forward. Brandon Browner tackled him. We'll see where they spot this one. He needed to get right on top of the 44-yard line. Looks like he's going to be short. And you don't want your cornerback making this tackle, but when you've got a 6'4" cornerback, it helps.
It does help, and I'm sure that's the reason why Orton went head first as opposed to sliding, because it was a corner, but he didn't realize it was a 220-pound corner.
And the story of Brandon Browner has been told. 4 years in the CFL, 3 times in the All-Star, now getting his first real opportunity to make it in the National Football League at all. He really started here with Denver back in 2005, broke his arm in training camp, got put on IR that year. They brought him back, cut him the next season, been in the CFL ever since, but now with plays like that, getting an opportunity with the Seahawks, stopping Orton just short of the first down.
Well, I think they're going to go for it on 4th down, because this will be a very long field goal from here. And the wind is strong behind you, but I don't think it's that strong.
Did you see Matt Prater's last kick?
I did.
Okay. I don't think this is out of his range, but they're going to go for it nonetheless. 4th and inches.
Be about a 63-yarder from here.
Prater could probably do that with his left foot. The way things are going tonight, I tell you. Let's see what the Seahawks defense can do. You're needing to stop the Broncos. You saw how close it was. A matter of inches. McGahee. Oh, it's going to be close.
Big Red Bryant was in that backfield, and he's the guy getting up and high stepping off the field because of that penetration. This is going to be a hard unit to run the football against in short yardage situations because of all that beef up front. And again, this is what Red Bryant brings to the table. He slants to the inside, gets that penetration in the back, and there you can't run through 340 pounds like that. Great job by Big Red Bryant.
And the way they marked this ball, he didn't even get back to the line of scrimmage. So obviously they don't convert the first down, and you can see the difference Bryant makes. Forget the graphic, just watch what he's done tonight.
He is a large man who can really move for a guy his size. That's one of the reasons he can play defensive end.
So a big defensive stop gives the Seahawks the ball at the 45. Seahawks have had good field position to start with several times tonight, but once again unable to take advantage of it. Leon Washington trying to get back to the line of scrimmage. Joe Mays there to say
I'm going to tell you what, when Joe Mays gets to the point of attack and to the ball carrier, he lays the wood. He put a really nice hit that time on Leon Washington. He went nowhere after that contact, and I've seen him do that a couple of times tonight. He's built low to the ground, about 5'11", but he's about 246 pounds, so he brings it at that middle linebacker spot. We're going to have the 2-minute warning now.
We do get the 2-minute warning here in Denver. Red Bryant and the Seahawks defense has been the bright spot of the first half so far, this 3rd game of the preseason.
Seahawks trail Broncos 10-3. It could have been a whole lot worse in the first half if not for Red Bryant and that Seahawks defense. We were talking about how well the defense has played in the first half, but boy, offensively, got some work to do, to put it kindly.
They really struggle. You know, we talked at the top of the show about they need to look sharp, especially on offense this game. And I don't think they were listening to us, because all they've done is got about 28 yards of total offense, and they've given up 4 sacks. So that's not the way you want to start the football game.
Yeah, Tavares Jackson, just no time at all to do anything. We'll talk more about the first half coming up in a halftime show. Kurt and Warren, back to you.
All right, guys, not to belabor the point, but the 4 sacks this offensive line has suffered or surrendered, not the only problem. They've run the ball 8 times. Half of them, 4, have gone from 0 or negative yards. So Tom Cable not getting what he wants out of this offensive line so far. Now we'll see how they run the 2-minute offense. Washington on the draw play. But whistles blow, flags fly, and it will be a legal procedure against the Seahawks.
Yeah, it looked like Robert Gallery was a little bit early pulling on that play.
Been a busy night for Bill Levy, the referee, as well.
False start. 78 offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Well, they called it on Tyler Columbus, and of course he's in there because of the injury to Russell Okung.
He's a guy that we've got to get back in the lineup here pretty soon. I don't know what his progress is right now, but I know he's coming along. He's been in uniform and at practice and doing some drills. And it's just a matter of time before he's back out there on the field, hopefully in the next week to two.
Yeah, they hope that he'll be back in time for the season opener. They need him. From the shotgun. Dumps it off to Leon Washington. Gets him running room. Sidney Rice tries to block downfield, does a good job. Gets out to the 49, 11 yards on the play. And the clock keeps ticking.
Yeah, and that's a great way to slow down a good pass rush is throw either draws or screens. That time a screen to Leon Washington, something they did earlier in the ball game and got an 8-yard gain on. Here's another successful screen because when you get those guys flying up the field to the quarterback like the Denver Broncos are right now, the screen pass will slow them down a little bit.
Third down, needing the 45. Gets loud as Jackson works from the shotgun. Under pressure again. Incomplete. That pocket just collapsed around him. Elvis Dumerville and Von Miller meet at the quarterback.
Well, that's what the Broncos want out of these two young men is both of them to meet at the quarterback a lot this season. I don't like them to see that they're doing that tonight against the Seahawks, but I'm sure opposing quarterbacks are going to look at this film and say, boy, these two guys can bring it, and they're going to have to watch out for them and try and protect against these two guys. Come up with different schemes and make sure you take care of these guys as pass rushers. All
right, here's John Ryan on the punt again. Thompson lets it bounce over his head, takes a Seahawk bounce. That'll be touchdown right at the 10-yard line. 1 minute, 1 second remaining here in this first half.
Well, you've got to be discouraged if you're watching the Seahawks offense as a spectator. I'm sure people are very frustrated with the way they're playing right now, as are the Seahawks offensive players, I'm sure themselves, and the coaches. But we knew this was going to be a work in progress coming into this season. You got all these new faces, all these new bodies that have never played together before, and it's taken a while.
Two rookies on the right side. Max Unger, who basically missed all of last season, injured in the first game. The starting center and a new left guard in Robert Gallery. No Sean Moreno just scoots on through the offensive line. Josh Pinkard finally stops him after pickup of 7.
And you hate to make excuses for him, but the offensive line is where everything starts, and you can't do anything unless that offensive line is gelling, and right now they just aren't, and they're not allowing them to do a lot of things in the run game or in the passing game.
Here's Orton. Completes that one. Right out to the 25-yard line he goes. Eric Decker with the reception. And the Broncos stop the clock for the first time tonight. 32 seconds to go here in this first half.
Consequently, the Broncos, except for Orlando Franklin at the right tackle spot, all the rest of those guys played together last year, and you can tell the difference. Just much more cohesion, much more communication. Communication is such a big key in offensive line play. One guy knowing what the next guy is doing next to him, and they don't have to really say anything, but it's just something that they have an unwritten or an unspoken communication between the linemen up front, and these guys just don't have that yet because they haven't worked together in enough situations to really feel comfortable with what one another is doing next to them. So it's going to take a little while, and hopefully that little while is a little while and not a long while.
2 weeks from Sunday is the season opener, September 11th. Orton from the shotgun. Decker again slips a tackle. Browner finally wraps him up. 8 yards on the reception. Timeout. 27 seconds remaining by Denver. Their second timeout.
Yeah, Orton recognized the pressure coming off the nickel and got the ball to Decker quickly as his hot read. He's able to make one Seahawk miss. I think it was
Josh Pinkard.
Yeah, that was Josh Pinkard that missed the tackle. But again, 8 yards on first down. That's a good gain for Broncos.
There you see Kyle Orton trying to engineer a late first half score. This Seahawk defense doing everything they can to try and stop it. The defense has played well tonight.
They've given the offense a good field position with the football. They've done a pretty good job tonight, but you just can't keep holding them back if your offense is unable to generate any type of offense, and they just haven't tonight.
Kyle Orton can't find anyone downfield. Flags come flying. That's going to be a holding call because I tell you what, Jimmy Wilkerson was so close to getting in there.
Holding, number 50, offense, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Yeah, the center, J.D. Walton, forced to do nothing but hold. He had no shot.
Well, when you got to protect that long, at some point you're going to have to grab onto one of those defensive linemen because the quarterback's still holding the football, and all of a sudden you see, well, you don't see him moving because he's behind you, but the defensive player sees him moving, so he starts to run to pursue him, and you just grab a hold of him, and that's exactly what J.D. Walton did that time, and he got caught.
And that certainly helps the Seattle defense because it backs Denver up, and, of course, time ran, so there's only 19 seconds remaining. Ball at the 23. Orton dumps it off. Noshan Moreno in the middle of the field, gets it out to the 34-yard line. It'll be a yard shy of the first down, but more importantly, it forces Denver to use that final timeout, and Moreno appears to be hurt.
I'm surprised they're using this final timeout when they're 65 yards, 67 yards away from the end zone. What are you going to do, throw a Hail Mary right here? You think you're going to get it all on one play? If this ball is completed inbounds, the clock stops. I mean, the clock runs out. Probably unlikely that you're going to get this ball all the way down to the end zone.
And there you can see Pete Carroll trying to coach him up on defense, out onto the field, telling guys what to do.
Well, that's Pete. He is as hands-on a coach as there is in the league.
Well, we'll see what kind of start the Seahawks can get off to. The first half of their schedule is pretty tough. We'll show it to you in just a bit. Third and short. Here we go. Orton can't find a receiver. Now zips that one in there right along the sideline. Eddie Royal makes the catch in front of Browner, and the clock stops with 4 ticks remaining. 17 yards on the reception.
They're going to try a field goal here. Why not?
Okay.
This will be what?
That would be a 69-yard attempt.
Wow.
Were this the regular season, that would be the NFL record, of course. Crowd on his feet. Matt Prater. From 69 yards away, it's low and it's short. I'll tell you what, kicked it about 66, 67. But even in this altitude with the wind at his back, couldn't get it through, and that'll end the first half.
Well, when you got a weapon like that, I guess that's why you keep being aggressive with only a few seconds on the clock. If you can get within 60 yards range, you got a chance to make it here in Denver, but they come up a little bit short.
He didn't make that one, but a couple of long field goals by each team, and a touchdown by Willis McGahee. That's your scoring for the first half. Broncos going to the locker room, leading the Seahawks 10-3 at halftime of this all-important third preseason game. Sylvian Strong back with a halftime report right after this. And another kick goes through the end zone, so we'll have another touchback. And once again, the Seahawk offense starts at its own 20. You know, people will look at Tavares Jackson's numbers once again. We said it last week. You can't judge his performance off the numbers in either of these games because of the way the line is protected or hasn't protected.
Well, you've got to get a chance to look down the field and throw the football, and you got to be able to come off to your second read, and he's just not able to do that because his pocket is continually collapsing around him. So I'm just glad the guy's still upright because it's been a long game. It's been a long preseason for him so far, trying to adjust to a new offensive line.
Here we go to start the second half. All the starters still in there. Justin Forsett right into the arms of Von Miller. Picks up about 2 yards on the play. Penalty flag down as well.
Holding. Number 60 offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
On the center, Max Unger. Not the way you want to start the second half.
Not the way you want to start the second half. one of the reasons for the pressure by the Denver Broncos is all the short, long yardage situations the Seahawks have put themselves in. So when you're in long yardage situations, you just open the door for those pass rushes just to come at you. And that's one of the problems they've had tonight is the long yardage has allowed Elvis Dumervil, Von Miller to just get back to the quarterback.
So they start the second half with a 10-yard penalty. It's 1st and 20 from their own 10. Forsett on the draw play. Good second effort by Forsett. Winds up picking up 5 yards before Miller's there on the tackle again.
Well, just an inside run, little trap play by Forsett up inside. And it was blocked pretty well at the point of attack. You see big Robert Mallory come around and kick out, and Forsett does the rest with just second effort, but a good running play just to get you back to some manageable down and distance.
2nd and 15.
Not real manageable.
It's better than 1st and 20.
Exactly.
Working from the shotgun. There's the pressure again, and there's the sack again. 5th sack tonight given up by the Seahawks.
And it's Von Miller again going around James Carpenter. He's having a tough time trying to keep Von Miller from turning that corner. He's got to get those feet moving a little bit more. And Von Miller's a guy that they are really, like I said, high on earlier in the show. He reminds them a lot of Derek Thomas, and we all know what Derek Thomas was as a pass rusher in the NFL. He's a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. One of the great sackers in the NFL, and Von Miller is a guy that reminds a lot of people of him.
Seahawks needing the 30 if they want to convert. Mike Williams going to be 5 yards short. Quick pass play caught by Williams, but obviously not enough for the first down.
Well, when you put yourself in those long yardage situations, it's going to be tough to convert, especially against a team that can put this type of pressure on the quarterback. But Mike Williams just runs a slant. You're just trying to get the ball out of your hands quickly if you're the Seahawks right now. And I'm sure that's why Darrell Bevell went to this quick slant, knowing he probably wasn't going to get enough yardage for the first down unless he broke a tackle or something, but at least get the ball away so you can get better field position for your punter.
John Ryan boots this one. Parrish Cox way back inside his 15-yard line. Good open field tackle made again by Byron Maxwell. Here's a kid who's shown up a couple of times tonight on special teams. 60 yards on the punt by Ryan, but another good open field tackle by Maxwell.
Yeah, Maxwell, one of those gunners. You see him double team right here, but he just gets good speed, has to run out of bounds, but comes back inbounds. And that's just pursuit right there. That's just want to. That's what special teams are all about. He just wanted to get down there better than those two guys blocking him, and he makes the tackle. That's why those young guys make the football team, making plays like that.
Both teams come back out with the same starting units to begin this third quarter. From the 15, Orton batted at the line of scrimmage. Alan Branch got a big paw on that. Big free agent pickup from Arizona for the Seahawks.
Alan Branch has had a really good preseason so far for the Seahawks. He's done a good job in the run game. He had a lot of pushback to the quarterback, and that's about the third ball I've seen this preseason that he's just stuck that big paw out there and batted down at 6'6". Really good athlete for a guy his size.
Yeah, so good. He was a 300-pound punt returner in high school. Ran 3 back for touchdowns. That's how good he was.
Can you believe that?
Hey, Willis McGahee getting nowhere. Going to be about a yard short of the line of scrimmage. Chris Clemens catches him in the backfield. And when you start looking at Clemens, Meebane, a pickup like Branch, Brett Bryant, you look at this defensive front for the Seahawks, it's gotten a lot better from where it was when Pete Carroll took over 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, and Junior Sadie in there, and also
Jimmy Wilkerson.
So all these guys have the ability to rotate through there, and I don't know how many of them they're going to keep, but they're going to have some pretty good cuts because all these guys can play in this league, but all of them can't make it.
3rd and 10. Orton tries to thread the needle, and he does. Brandon Lloyd makes the grab, but he gets a flag afterwards. Maybe a little too much celebration. 14 yards of reception, right past the fingertips of Walter Thurman.
And this is one of the things that used to plague Brandon Lloyd when he first came into the league. It's a little bit too much showboat. You just can't spin the ball like that when you're on the field. They call it more of a delay of game because you're not giving the ball back to the official and they've got to go retrieve it.
Delay of game, number 19 of the offense, throwing the ball on the ground away from the official. 5-yard penalty, still 1st and 10.
They called the wrong number. That was actually on Brandon Lloyd, number 84.
Right.
He obviously made the catch and then threw the ball down.
They're not going to call it for like hot dogging or anything like that, but because he doesn't give the ball to the official or put the ball down right there, now the officials have to go retrieve the football because he spun it somewhere, and that's what they're going to make the call on. I thought he had grown out of that, but he's still doing it.
Well, the penalty enforced after the first down was converted. So the ball's on the 25. First down for the Broncos. Orton with time. Wide open. There's number 19. Eddie Royal spins away and takes it down inside the 30.
Well, it just shows what a quarterback can do when he has time. Eddie Royal just runs down the field, kind of runs a sail route. You see it's cleared out by Brandon Lloyd. He takes the safety in the corner on that side, and he just runs to that vacated area. Kyle Orton just lays it out there, and Royals makes the catch and does the rest with his legs. A great open field runner with the football.
42 yards on the reception. No Sean Moreno. Moreno runs into the arms of Timmy Wilkerson, another penalty marker down.
Offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat first down.
That one's going to come back, holding on the fullback, Spencer Larson.
A lot of holding calls in the game tonight, especially by the Denver Broncos. That's probably about their 3rd or 4th holding call. Seahawks have had a few as well. A lot of it due to that good interior play by these defensive fronts. Both of these defensive fronts have been playing very well, very hard to block tonight.
A lot of penetration for both defensive fronts. Penalty makes it 1st and 20. Orton changing the play at the line of scrimmage. Play clock inside 3. Orton can't find a receiver. Good coverage downfield, but there's Daniel Fells wide open. Patience eventually paid off. Earl Thomas with the stop, but only after a 29-yard reception by Fells.
Well, not a lot of pass rush by the Seahawks that time. Almost no pass rush that time. Kyle Orton had a lot of time to sit back there and survey it. Even though the Seahawks dropped 8 guys into coverage, if you have a quarterback with that much time, he's going to find a receiver eventually, and there he finds Fells for a big gain, another first down for the Broncos.
At the 14-yard line. Broncos coming out with really good tempo on offense to start this second half. Orton looking. Good coverage everywhere by the Seahawks, and he's forced to throw that one out of bounds, incomplete. Look who's back there covering Brandon Lloyd. It's Chris Clemens. He's already got an interception tonight, but you don't expect to see defensive ends covering the leading receiver in the league.
Well, you need Chris Clemens going after the quarterback with the amount of time he had right here. It's mainly the 3 big guys inside that are rushing the quarterback. So you've got 5 against 3. That's a pretty good matchup for the Denver Broncos as far as blocking their pass rushers. And Orton just had all kinds of time, but still couldn't find anybody open because there was so many guys dropping into the coverage.
First time tonight either team has been inside its opponent's red zone. The pitch to Moreno. Following his blockers. Can't get around Leroy Hill. Late flag on the play. Out of bounds, Earl Thomas with some contact on Moreno. Was it late?
I wonder if they're going to call a horse collar or face mask.
Well, Leroy Hill was the first to get there. Earl Thomas was second. Let's get the call from Bill Lee.
Personal foul, face mask, number 78 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal, automatic first down.
Tyler Columbus.
Yeah, I don't know who he's calling that because Tyler Columbus is 78. Obviously an offensive tackle. It should be 56, Leroy Hill with the face mask.
Yeah, his hand kind of came across the face mask. Didn't really grab it, but it doesn't matter anymore. If you hit the face mask at all, you're going to get the major penalty.
So half the distance to the goal, 7 yards on the penalty, but more importantly, it resets the down. It's first and goal from the 7-yard line. Orton calling the play at the line. Zips that with Decker, easy. Touchdown for the Broncos.
Orton made that look easy right there. He throws that touchdown pass to Decker. Decker just runs a little chair route. Just kind of turns to the outside. There's the ball delivered right on the money.
Well, the 2 touchdown drives by the Broncos have been lengthy. An 80-yard scoring drive earlier for a touchdown. This time, they take it 85 yards on their first possession of the second half. Here's Matt Prater for the extra point. Just like that, the Seahawks defense comes up short, and the Broncos extend the lead. It's 17-3 here in the third period. Broncos with a 17-3 lead here midway through the third quarter. Kyle Orton leading the Denver team on an 85-yard, 8-play scoring drive on their first possession here in the second half. And we'll see if that's going to be it for him tonight. Meanwhile, it looks like Tavares Jackson going to come back out and try and get something going for this Seahawk offense. Hey, guess what? Another one kicked through the end zone. We hadn't seen that one before, have we? So no returns on kickoffs tonight. I guess that's about the biggest excitement we've got going, except we're not even going to commercial right now. Penalty marker on the play. I mean, this has been a rough night for the Seahawks whenever they've had the football. And they haven't been able to even get it most of the time on special teams with kickoffs.
Yeah, and I think one of the reasons why they want to...
After the play, personal foul, number 35 of the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. It'll be first and 10 from the 10.
That's on the rookie, Jerron Johnson. And I tell you what, things are beginning to unravel a little bit right now for the Seahawks. They'll take it over at their own 10-yard line when we come back. 17-3 is the count. Broncos on top. Right about the midway point of the third quarter here in this third preseason game. And you can sense that the starting offense for the Seahawks out here yet again, because they want to leave on a positive note. Want something good to happen for them.
No question about it. It's the last time they might play for a while, and you definitely want to try and leave on that positive note to have something to hang your hat on as you go back to practice on Monday.
Starting at their own 10-yard line after the penalty, Justin Forsett falls forward for a gain of 3 yards on the play. Yeah, they've had the ball 8 times tonight, 7 punts and a 52-yard field goal. And so they would like to get some type of rhythm, even if they don't put up points here, for this, what will probably be the last time they touch the ball.
Yeah, just some first downs, just to get some continuity and some momentum going. And hopefully they can get some points on the board. But, yeah, you want to get 3 or 4 first downs on this drive just to make yourself feel like we're an offensive unit that can move the football.
Here's Forsett. Get some running room outside. That'll help. You talk about trying to pick up first downs. They do. 10 yards on the run by Forsett.
And it also helps your defense out. I'm sure the defense is over there on the other side of the ball. You know, they're playing their behinds off, but they don't have much to show for it because the offense has been so lethargic tonight. But here's a really nice run by Justin Forsett. Picks up some nice blocks over there on the left side. And we know that he can turn the corner once he has one.
First down since the first quarter for Seattle. 13 yards on the last 2 carries by Forsett equals the rushing total from the first half. And so Leon Washington comes in, picks up 2 yards on that run.
Well, one of the things they want to try and do here is not only get some first downs, get some continuity, but take some of the pressure off your quarterback and not have to put him in passing situations. So hopefully by running the football here successfully, they'll put themselves in some manageable situations where he doesn't have to hold the football back there right now. Let that offensive line just tee off and come off the football.
Here's Washington. Penetration again by this front for Denver. nowhere to run, give him 1 yard, and that may be being generous. Jeremy Jarman in there on the tackle.
Well, that's not going to get it done because that's going to put you in the 3rd and long, exactly what you don't want to be in, because now all of a sudden they can rush the passer. They know you have to throw the football from the pocket, and this is where they've been a very tough group to stop tonight.
And it brings up another 3rd and long. Seahawks trying to get it to the 33-yard line. Jackson pressure. Down. May have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. So it won't be another sack, but more pressure once again being brought by the Broncos against this offensive line.
And again, it comes over the right tackle spot. And again, James Carpenter having a tough time trying to keep whoever is over him on the Broncos defense.
Jeremy Jarman again.
That time it was Jason Hunter coming from the outside.
So they did call it a sack, saying he got back to the line of scrimmage and no more. John Ryan with the punt. Parrish Cox. Ball bounces off his chest, and he falls on it. Byron Maxwell right there, but couldn't recover the buff punt. So Denver holds on everything going the Broncos' way right now. 5:40 left to go here in the 3rd quarter from Mile High. Seahawks football is presented by Washington's Lottery. When you play, students win. Well, there was a cheer that went up during the break because Tim Tebow took the field for the first time tonight for the Broncos. I have to admit, though, it wasn't as loud as we saw when Tebow used to come into the game. I think fans started to realize a little bit that he may not be the guy, at least not right now. Hands it off on his first possession. Lance Ball out to the 30-yard line. I'm surprised he's even getting the second nod tonight. I thought maybe Brady Quinn. A lot of people have said Brady Quinn has outplayed him during the preseason, but Tebow gets the nod tonight to get a chance to play a little bit more. And well, John Fox, the head coach, mentioned that Tebow's only thrown 9 passes in the preseason, which is less than half of the other 2. So wanting to give him an opportunity tonight to at least feel like he's competing for this number 2 job. Under pressure, flushed out by Raheem Brock. Tebow on the run, throws it and connects. Julius Thomas, the tight end, with the catch out across midfield before Jerron Johnson made the tackle.
And that's one of the things, even though he's not one of your prototype quarterbacks, you can't teach this. You can't teach getting outside the pocket, throwing the football on the run like that for a big completion down the field. And you can tell he's a fan favorite here in Denver just because he brings that winning mentality along with him.
20 yards on the pickup. And he may be the most talked about backup quarterback in the history of the National Football League. A cult-like following coming out of college at the University of Florida. Lance Ball gets around the corner. Ball going to pick up 7 yards on the run, make it 6 officially. Malcolm Smith almost caught him in the backfield, but just couldn't wrap it up.
Yeah, Malcolm Smith had a chance to make that tackle in the backfield for a loss, but because of that missed tackle, it allows Ball to get around that right corner and get a nice gain on first down, almost 7-8 yards.
Yeah, 7 yards on the gain instead of a 3-yard loss, which is where Smith had him initially. Tebow, of course, a Heisman winner, national championship in Florida. A couple of them. Out of the pocket. Hit as he throws. Incomplete. No flags on the play. Brandon Browner was there on the coverage. Let's take a look at what happened behind the line of scrimmage, though, as KJ Wright was bringing the heat.
Yeah, good pressure by the Seahawks up front, no question about it. Good hit by KJ Wright just as Tebow lets the football go, but the crowd wanted pass interference, but that was just good coverage by Browner. And Browner's that type of guy. He's a big-bodied guy, and he can get his arms and body around those smaller receivers, and that's something the Seahawks love about him.
And a good play by Wright. You can see he's still in this game longer than most of the starters on defense as he catches his breath now on 3rd down. Tebow forced to run. This is what he likes to do. And he loses the football fighting for extra yardage. And the Broncos eventually fall on it. David Anderson saving the day for Tim Tebow.
That's one of the things he's going to learn in this league is you're not going to bull everybody over. You can't try and go for those extra yards like he sometimes does. Just go ahead and take the sack and punt the football. But if you're trying for this second effort, here, all of a sudden the ball comes out, because that's what these guys are taught to do, get that football out of there, and they did. Fortunately for the Broncos, they got back on it.
So Dustin Colquitt will come on to punt. Doug Baldwin back deep for the Seahawks. Defense coming through for Seattle once again. Colquitt gets it off. Baldwin makes the fair catch right about the 16-17 yard line. And so the Seahawks will start from there. Third possession of this second half. We'll see who comes in at quarterback when we come back. Charlie Whitehurst will have to wait, looks like, until the fourth quarter to take the field. Tavares Jackson still out there at quarterback as Pete Carroll, once again, just trying to give him something positive.
Well, these guys just need to play together. They're all strangers to one another, and the more they can play, the more snaps they can get, the more tape they have to look at, the more they can study for the next time they have to go out there. You're taking a risk because you don't want to get your quarterback hurt right now, but you also want to give him some more playing time, like you said, and try and end on a positive note.
And from what we have seen, quarterback has not been the issue tonight. It's been the offensive line play. Jackson connecting with big Mike Williams out right on top of that first down marker.
It's amazing what you can do when you have a little time.
Yeah.
You drop back, you plant, you hit your back foot, and you let the ball go, and you get a completion.
And you pick up 12 yards officially and go into hurry-up mode. Leon Washington cuts it through the middle. Washington with running room. Biggest run of the night so far for Seattle. Good block by the rookie John Moffitt, springing him free for 22 yards.
Well, this is what Leon Washington can give you when he's in space, and he does it again. A nice block is you see Moffitt come out there and kick out. Leon reads that block, turns up inside, and then the rest is history as he takes it up that left sideline.
In hurry-up mode, Jackson completes it out to Ben Obamanu, and Obamanu to the 40-yard line of Denver, give him 10 yards.
Well, Ben Obamanu's the guy I wanted to look at tonight because he hasn't played all preseason, had an injured shoulder, but he was a guy that had a really good breakout season last year, and I think he can be a big contributor again this year.
It's against second-teamers, but the Seahawk offense seems to be finding some rhythm. Leon Washington cuts it back. Fights for 4 yards.
That's just great vision by Leon Washington. That play designed to go to the right side. He saw that it all got stacked up over there. He has the patience to cut back to the left side and gets 4 yards on a play that probably would have got him nothing if he stays to the right side.
On second down, here's Jackson with time. Sidney Rice knocked out of bounds at the 31-yard line, just about a yard short of the first.
Well, a little bit of rhythm now finally in this offense, but you'd love to have had this earlier in the ball game, especially against the Denver Broncos' #1 defense. A lot of those guys out of the game now, so you're moving the ball more against their second-team guys, but you're still moving the ball, and that's all that really matters right here. You want to, like I said, get some rhythm going with this offense, get something positive moving.
Thomas Clayton in at running back. He's been the short yardage guy tonight. 3rd and 1. They give it to the fullback, Michael Robinson, and Robinson picks up the first down.
Good push by that offensive line up inside. Just going off the football, getting low, getting leverage, and driving those Denver Broncos off the ball allowed Michael Robinson to find some room in there to get the first down.
The Seahawks now go to a huddle with 20 seconds to go here in this third quarter. Best rhythm this offense has been in all night. Jackson back to throw. Caught by Obamanu inside the 20. Going to be about a yard short of another first down. 9-yard gain on the play, and that takes us to the end of the third quarter. The Seattle offense, the Seattle offense looking as good as it has all night long, trying to take advantage of having the backups in for Denver. It's 17-3. Seahawks trying to get their first touchdown as a #1 unit. Pete Carroll's best-selling book, Win Forever, is now available in paperback with a bonus chapter. Win Forever chronicles Carroll's philosophies and career in football. Serves as a great motivational resource whether you're a coach in life, business, or sports. It's available at the Pro Shop and wherever books are sold. This team not winning right now, but they're in the red zone for the first time all night at the 19-yard line. Jackson back to throw. Lofting it up for Rice. Flags come flying. Nate Jones there on the coverage, and he's going to be called. And that's what you want to do with those big bodies.
Pass interference, number 33 defense. Foul occurred in the end zone. Ball will be placed at the 1-yard line. First down.
Sometimes even if you don't connect, you draw the flag.
But when you have a big body receiver like Sidney Rice, who's 6'4", going against Nate Jones, who's only 5'10", those guys have to scrape and scrap to try and stay up with these big guys. And you see he just grabbed him right there before that football got there, giving the Seahawks the ball, 1st and goal at the 1.
Winds up being an 18-yard penalty. Seahawks with 5 first downs on this drive. They had 3 the entire game before. Thomas Clayton won't get in. Boy, he is wrapped up. Ronell Brown, the first guy there, but he wasn't alone.
Well, it was all collapsed up inside there by their big defensive lineman. There's nowhere for Thomas to go. He tried to cut this thing back from the left to the right, but just a big wall right there, and he took some big shots once he got stood up by some Bronco defensive players.
Clayton back at tailback again. 2 tight ends in for the Seahawks. 3 actually. Lofting it up for one of them. Wide open, easy touchdown. Dominic Byrd scores for Seattle.
They finally got that touchdown.
Tavares Jackson's first touchdown pass as a Seahawk. 5 for 5 for Jackson on that drive. We talked about finishing on a good note. You could say it's against the backups, whatever. They took advantage of being a better unit on this drive.
And he got some protection. He got some time to throw the football, to see receivers down the field, see them come open, see them come out of their breaks. Here, Dominic Byrd, wide open in the back of the end zone, the play action fake, and he's had a really good preseason. I think he's one of the leading receivers for the Seahawks this preseason. That's his first touchdown.
The extra point by Reed is good, and Dominic Byrd, a guy who last played in the National Football League in 2007, gets the first touchdown pass in the preseason from Tavares Jackson, makes it a 7-point game. First touchdown pass for Tavares Jackson in 19 possessions as a Seahawks. 9 plays, 83 yards, nearly 3.5 minutes. They ran the hurry up. It seemed to get him in a rhythm. They took advantage of facing some backups, and they get a touchdown. Dominic Byrd with the score.
And I would think that would be it for Tavares tonight. He got the touchdown pass, give Charlie Whitehurst a chance to finish out this football game. He got a lot of play time tonight. Tavares did. He got a lot of different situations, and he ended it on a positive note. So time to get him out of the football game.
Late into the 4th quarter. David Anderson. Well, that's the first kick that hasn't boomed through the end zone, but he takes a knee nonetheless, and it's a touchdown, a touchback again. I just want something to happen besides a touchback. Broncos will take it over at the 20-yard line as the Seahawks draw within 7. Be a part of the 12th man by joining the Seahawks in 2011. You can see touchdowns like that in person because season tickets are now available. Visit Seahawks.com or call 888-NFL-HAWK to be a part of the action. We mentioned Dominic Byrd out of football since 2007 because of the expanded rosters, getting an opportunity with the Seahawks and taking advantage of it in training camp so far as the Broncos take it over the 20-yard line after the touchback. Jerron Johnson there on the tackle. Lance Ball with a carry, gain of 8.
Well, now we're going to see a lot of probably backups, a lot of guys trying to make this football team in the game here on both sides, and they'll get a limited amount of time to play tonight. But most of these young guys will get a ton of time to play next week because you don't expect to see a lot of veterans, a lot of regulars playing next week, if at all.
And remember, the first cuts are Tuesday. This year they reduced the rosters down from 90 to 80. And then after the final preseason game, the Seahawks play on Friday night. That's Saturday. The roster has to be down to 53. And here's Lance Ball breaking another big run. Martin McGree in on the tackle, but only after a 12-yard pickup and a first down for the Broncos.
If you're the Seahawks defensive front, you want to continue to keep playing well like those other big guys were in front of you. But right here, they run an ISO play and big hole over on the left side for Ball, and he takes advantage of it and getting up the field.
First down at the 40. Tim Tebow still in at quarterback for Denver. The handoff taken by Jeremiah Johnson. A.J. Shabo with the stop. Pick up 4 yards on the play. Well, you can see these are the key dates remaining here in this preseason. They cut the rosters down Tuesday. That final preseason game at CenturyLink Field next Friday as the Seahawks host the Raiders. Then the next day they have to cut it down to 53. All leading up to the opener on September 11th at the 49ers.
There's going to be a lot of guys unemployed in the National Football League. You're talking about 17 or so per team times 32. That's a lot of guys that are going to be walking around looking for jobs.
Tebow under pressure. Maurice Fountain can't bring him down. Tebow keeps the play alive and finds a receiver. Jeremiah Johnson out of the backfield. 12 yards on the reception, and you know what? You got to credit Tim Tebow as much as anything for keeping that play going.
Well, he's a big, strong guy, and if you get a hold of him, you better bring him down because we've seen him year after year after year in college and even in the NFL for the short time that he's been here. He's a tough guy to bring down. He showed it right there, shrugging off a big defensive tackle and still finding a receiver down the field for a huge gain. This is what this guy can do. He can extend plays and make things happen.
They give him 23 yards to the 32. And that's why the fans love him. He always brings excitement. And then he has plays like that, colliding with his fullback in the backfield. Tebow runs it out of bounds, maybe 3 yards on the run. The good and the bad of Tim Tebow.
But he ended up turning it into a positive play, and that's the key there. Instead of it being a loss, instead of it being a fumble because of the collision in the backfield, all of a sudden he gets a 2-yard gain out of it. So not what you'd like to see as an offensive coordinator with your offense, but it wasn't a negative play.
Puts the ball on the 30. Second down. The pitch to Johnson. Being chased. Flags flying everywhere. Maurice Fountain in there on the tackle, but once again, penalty markers all along that Denver sideline.
Illegal use of the hands to the face. Number 25 defense. 5-yard penalty enforced from the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Well, another penalty by the Seahawks defense, especially by a young guy. And you know what? When you're trying to make the football team like Richard Sherman is, this is not going to help.
Well, again, you're trying to get your hands on the receiver and redirect him, but you can't slap him in the head like that. You can't go to the head, but you want to be aggressive, like I said, but that's just not a smart play right there by Richard Sherman. He's a smarter kid than that.
5th-round draft pick for the Seahawks out of Stanford. You got to be smart to get into Stanford, don't you?
I think so.
After penalty. Ball's on the 20. Here's the pressure. Tebow gets it off. Bobbled. Incomplete. Lance Ball couldn't bring it in. Thinking about running before he had a chance to make the catch. Byron Maxwell right there with him, keeping the heat on him.
Yeah, Tim Tebow, I think, took a pretty good hit from his blind side coming to the left as he threw that football. Ball almost had it, but wasn't able to make that football move to have possession of the football, so they called it incomplete. Otherwise, it would have been a huge turnover for the Seahawks.
Maxwell has really shown up tonight. A couple of good special teams play, and right there, coming close to Tebow and forcing him to make the throw.
Yeah, he needs to fix his pad.
That'll do it between second and third down. More flags. Delay of game. Play clock ran down.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second down.
That one's on the quarterback right there. He's got that clock right in front of him. No excuse for that. He had plenty of time at the line of scrimmage, but that's something you have to be aware of all the time as a quarterback, what that clock is doing. Sometimes young quarterbacks, because they're thinking so much about the play and everything they have to do, they forget about that clock.
8th penalty against this Bronco team. Now from the 25. Tebow lost and found by Pep Livingston. I mean, he turned right around and Livingston was there. Said, thank you.
Well, he wanted to throw a bubble screen to the left side, and it was covered, so he tried to tuck it and make something happen out of it, but he's best to just throw that football away because there's too many bodies in there. His drop isn't deep enough because he's just trying to step back 1 yard from the line of scrimmage. So his linemen think the ball is already gone, but there he is still standing there with the football. Easy sack for the Seahawks.
Lazarius Cortez Livingston, better known as Pep. 7th round draft pick out of LSU. Tebow flushed out of the pocket. Throws that one short. Catch made, no signal yet.
I think they're going to call it complete.
Everybody's standing around.
Seen incomplete.
Matthew Willis, the intended receiver.
Again, you never know what's going to happen when Tim Tebow is behind center. But he just makes something happen here, and that ball might have skied on the ground.
Yeah, they called it a completion of 5 yards on the play.
Doesn't look like it's going to be reviewed.
And no challenge made by the Seahawks. So Matt Prater comes on to attempt a 40-yard field goal. He's made one from 57 tonight and just missed one from 69. This one's no problem from 40 yards out. Makes the double-digit lead again. Matt Prater putting it through, and it's 2010 Denver with 9:15 to go here in the fourth quarter. Let's go to Munch Bar at Bellevue Square. 7 o'clock, that's where the Seagulls will unveil their 2012 calendar. You can get yours signed there by all 32 Seagulls. For more information, visit Seahawks.com or just swing on by Munch Bar at Bellevue Square, 7 o'clock this Wednesday night. Denver with a 40-yard field goal, putting points up, answering the touchdown that Seattle got on its previous possession. Doug Baldwin watches another one go through the end zone, and we get more flags as well. No kickoffs returned at all tonight. How are you going to make the Pro Bowl as a return guy this year? Huh? It's going to be impossible.
This might be the first game I've seen where there's going to be 3 offsides penalties on kickoffs.
Offside, number 43 of the kicking team. 5-yard penalty and re-kick.
So it backs him up to the 30.
And that might be the only way you get a return is you got to get offsides penalties to move it back to the 30, which is where it used to be. And then maybe kickers will keep it not so deep in the end zone where a returner can actually bring it out and return it.
You can see Charlie Whitehurst just chomping to get in this ball game. I think probably had hoped to get in a lot earlier, but it's going to be about the second half of the fourth quarter, and that's going to be it. Based on the ineffective way that the first team offense really played, it forced them to stay in the ball game a lot longer, I think, than Seattle had previously anticipated, playing on the fourth quarter, but it paid off in the end as Tavares Jackson threw the touchdown pass. There you see his final numbers. Once again, those numbers not indicative of the kind of night it was with the lack of protection.
So Seattle's last drive was 8 plays, 90 yards. So they really looked good on that drive. Showed a lot of precision. They showed a lot of execution, and they also showed good rhythm. You know, and then they ended up with a touchdown. So that's the way you want to end your drives.
Hey, look at this! A kickoff return. Doug Baldwin. There he goes. First return of the night. Baldwin takes it all the way back for the score.
No flags.
100 5 yards and a Seahawk touchdown.
It's amazing how the league has tried to take away one of the most exciting plays in pro football, but because of a penalty, we get a chance to see one. A 105-yard return by Doug Baldwin. Had some great blocks. Found the right seam. Got a good block there going up the field. Good cutback right here. Breaks the tackle at about the 10-yard line and just goes into the end zone for a 105-yard touchdown return. This guy has done everything right so far during this training camp.
Special teams, slot receiver, he has done it all when given the chance. And that's the biggest play of the preseason for Seattle, period.
We have a tie ball game. No, we don't.
It only counts for 7
it only
points.
Counts for 7.
Even though it's a rare kick
count
return.
For 10.
Yeah, in this day and age, if you get a kick return for a score, it should be 10 points. But it's 7, pulls the Seahawks to within 3, 2017. Another rookie out of Stanford. Free agent. No one signed him, and he has been the star on offense and special teams of this preseason for Seattle. Doug Baldwin, 105-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. Still huffing and puffing. Hey, he deserves the rest after that.
Yes, he does. And like I said, he's had a great preseason. Everything he's been asked to do, he's done. He's caught the football, every ball that's been thrown to him. He's ran good routes. He's done well on special teams. Can't ask more of this young guy.
And so Jeff Reeves, kickoff taken in the back of the end zone by Paris Cox. Not returning that one. Charlie Whitehurst still waiting. He thought he was finally going to get in the game, and they returned it all the way for a score. So he's like, well, I guess I got to wait a little while longer.
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, you get points out of it.
Don't want to look greedy. Seattle with only 133 yards. Denver with 379 yards of total offense, but we have a 3-point game. Just shows how important special teams are.
Denver starts at the 20. Tebow under center. Lance Ball. Good coverage by the Seahawks there. Michael Johnson gets credited for the tackle.
Yeah, that was really good pursuit to the football. As we see Doug Baldwin sitting there, still probably trying to catch his breath up here in this altitude. But he's a guy that I think can make this football team and be a slot receiver, because he's done a nice job in the slot whenever he's played. He has that knack for finding the soft spot in the right place in the zone. He catches the football very well, and he'll surprise you with his speed like he did on that kickoff return.
Yeah, he can play all 3 wide receiver positions. It seems to be best out of the slot. Tebow being chased. Dumps it off. Not pretty. Incomplete. That ball was fluttering into the hands of Dante Rosario. Falls incomplete. Good pressure by the front for Seattle.
Yeah, Dante Rosario was a tight end with John Fox at the Carolina Panthers. Brought him over here as a free agent. And again, a really good blocker in the running game. Not a great pass catcher, as Tebow is 3 for 6 now for 49 yards.
But he does bring excitement. You got to give him that. See what he can do on 3rd down, needing the 30 from the shotgun. He completes a pass for a 1st down. Is exactly what he does. Into the hands of Matthew Willis. Willis moves the chain.
This is what they want to see more of from Tim Tebow. Set in the pocket, throw the ball on rhythm, nice completion. That's what they want to see out of him. Not all the running around and creating plays and making plays. That's not the NFL. There's a time for that, but for the most part, they want to see him in the pocket doing what the offense calls for.
1st down at the 30. The pitch to Jeremiah Johnson, and the former Oregon back picks up a couple of yards on the play before Michael Johnson makes the tackle. Jeremiah Johnson sounds like a guy from an old Western, doesn't it?
He's having a good preseason for them, averaging about 5 yards a carry, and he went to the University of Oregon, where they have all that speed
and all those uniforms.
And a lot of uniforms.
How do you figure out what to wear each day? It's unbelievable.
Sure, every day you walk in your locker room, there's a different colored jersey hanging there.
Players like it, though. They actually use it as a recruiting tool.
Well, when you got Phil Knight behind you at Nike, that helps.
You can have as many uniforms as you want. Tebow in the pocket, looking deep down the sideline, overthrows everybody, incomplete. Britt Davis, the intended receiver. Ron Parker was there with him step for step. Parker, another one of these young guys trying to make this team. Undrafted out of Newberry College.
Well, one thing you have to do as a quarterback, you got to give your receiver a chance to make a play. He can't make a play if it's out of bounds. And that ball drifted out of bounds. You got to keep it in the field to play, if anything.
And so another 3rd and long situation. Tebow, that ball tipped at the line of scrimmage, still caught. And Britt Davis reaches out, tries to get the first down. We'll see where they measure it.
Tebow over at the sidelines trying to tell Coach John Fox, let's go for it on 4th down. But I don't think he's going to do it. He's a little bit upset by that. Again, throwing the football from the pocket, that's something people want to see him do on rhythm. Does a pretty nice job there.
You can see Davis reaching out. And where they marked it, it's short by about half a yard or so, maybe a foot. You can see how far they have to go. Tebow urging John Fox to go for it. This Denver crowd urging him to go for it. Somewhere on the sideline, I tell you, Charlie Whitehurst saying, punt, please.
Please punt.
Let me in the game.
I was thinking the exact same thing.
Tebow's got a smile on his face because it looks like John Fox has decided to go for it. Well, actually, they decided to challenge the spot is what they decided to do.
You got to be kidding me. He's actually going to challenge the spot in a preseason game.
Well, this is that area right around the 40-yard line where you figure you're darned if you do, darned if you don't. And they want to make sure that they didn't get the first down. Charlie Whitehurst, but please, please, please.
After reviewing the play, the runner's knee was down with the ball at the progress spot that was given. The ruling on the field is correct. Denver will be charged their first time out. 4th down.
Need we say more? Bill Levy told you everything we needed to know. So it will be 4th down. Tebow can't convince his head coach John Fox to go for it. And so the Broncos will punt.
Well, you know, at Florida, he just would have tried like a quarterback sneak or just ran it up off right guard and bulled his way for a first down.
That's because the athletes they had at Florida were better than half the athletes in the NFL right now. That team was loaded. Richard Sherman back to take the punt from Dustin Colquitt. There's going to be fair catch interference here as that ball hit a Bronco and ran into the end zone. They didn't give Sherman a chance to catch that football. Let Bill Levy and his crew sort it all out, but this one was pretty clear.
Yeah, it looked like Kyle McCarthy, number 34, was the guy who didn't give him enough room to catch that football, give Richard Sherman enough room to catch that football. So they're discussing probably where it happened and where the ball will be put.
Exactly.
We've had a lot of discussion tonight, Bill Levy and his crew.
There were fouls on both teams. During the kick, illegal block in the back, number 32, receiving team. Interference with the opportunity, kicking team. Penalties are going to offset and replay 4th down.
Well, once again, special teams penalty winds up hurting you. There is no number 32 for the Seahawks, so someone was called for it. It negates what would have been a very good opportunity. That's Nate Jones, 33, who didn't give Sherman a chance to catch that football.
How many special teams plays have we had to rerun in this football game tonight? How many kickoff returns? At least 3.
And Charlie Whitehurst is going, how many plays are you going to have before I get in the game?
At least 3 punt return do-overs as well tonight. A lot of running down the field by these young guys on these coverage teams.
Well, the coaches will like it. It'll give them a chance to evaluate guys more.
They don't like the penalties, though.
Here we'll try it again. Colquitt. High kick. Sherman. Inside his 10. Now out at the 13. Forced out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. Give him 10 yards for the return after a 46-yard punt. Seahawks football presented by Washington's Lottery. When you play, students win. 6:11 left to go in the ball game. First time tonight, Charlie Whitehurst will take the field as the Seahawks quarterback. See what he can do in 6 minutes, 11 seconds, down by 3 points. And all 3 timeouts.
Well, Charlie's had a really good preseason. He's really looked in command of the offense. He's really been sharp as far as his reads and getting the football out of his hands. He's got a lot of time left to work in this ball game, and the Seahawks could still somehow pull this game out.
Yeah, one thing the offensive coordinator, Darrell Bevel, told us was that Whitehurst has been poised, learning this new offense. Never flustered. Starts at his own 23. Here's pressure. Flushed out of the pocket and still completes this one. You don't expect him to have that type of mobility connecting with Chris Durham. 5 yards on the play, and we are joined right now on the sideline here by the guy who got the first interception of this preseason for the Seahawks, a man known for his sacks more than anything else, Chris Clemens. First of all, congratulations on the pick, and welcome back to football. I know it's your first game this season.
Yeah, it is. I'm just trying to get my feet back underneath me, get my timing down, and work on the things that we wanted to work on all offseason.
So how did it feel? I mean, you had that offseason ankle surgery, and we're going at it kind of slowly during training camp, but now you're back up to full speed, are you?
Yeah, coach just wanted to work me in. He didn't want me to play more than 3 plays per series, so he wanted to try to see what I could do as far as not limited practice time, but, you know, come out in the game time.
You know, Chris, you had 11 sacks last year. Great year for you, but is that what you were doing during that time you were out? Were you just practicing your drops and dropping into coverage, getting interceptions like you got tonight?
No, we worked on it last year. I dropped a few last year, and I knew one thing I had to work on this year was my ball skills. So, you know, along with rushing the quarterback, I knew I had to work on that because we have some plays where I am dropping in coverage.
Well, let me ask you this. You're a defensive lineman. I know you guys love to say you get paid to make sacks, but would you prefer a sack or a pick? One play.
I always prefer a sack because you got an opportunity for a strip, cause fumble, and a whole bunch of production in that one play.
You got the interception, and you tried to show a little speed after the pick tonight.
Yeah, I try to get my guys to block for me so we can try to at least do something for the offense. You know, we always trying to. Our first goal is ball first, so that's one of the things that we work on every day is ball.
Chris, you really got to be encouraged by the amount of beef that's up front with you, with the addition of Alan Branch and a junior coming back a lot bigger, a healthy Red Bryant out there. This defense should be right back intact the way it was the early part of the year last year.
Yeah, our biggest thing is stopping the run. You know, once we stop the run with all the guys up front, we can come in, me, Raheem, Jimmy, and Allen, even on third down, you know, and get after the quarterback. But that's our goal as far as a group is to get after the quarterback. But you got to stop the run first.
All right, we appreciate you taking time out to join us, Chris. Good
No
help.
problem.
Good help this season.
All right, thanks.
All right, that's Chris Clemens. And right now, a missed opportunity right here on the punt.
Yeah, this ball hits him right in the helmet. Unfortunately for the Seahawks, they couldn't get on that football. It would have been great field position with a lot of time left on the clock, but the Broncos got on top of it.
Yeah, David Anderson had that ball hit him. Muff punt, but the Broncos recover on the 22. Lance Ball wrapped up by A.J. Schabel. And so the first possession of the night for Charlie Whitehurst winds up in a 3-and-out, and now Denver will try to run as much clock as they can as we get under the 5-minute mark.
Yeah, this is that time of the game where you want to try and run your 4 or 5 minute offense where you're just going to try and get 2 or 3 first downs, keep that clock moving, make the other team have to use their timeouts. And if you do have to give them the football back, they won't have any timeouts left on the clock.
Tebow on second down. Back to pass. Flushed out of the pocket again and gets away. But not for long. Maurice Fountain eventually gets the sack. Pep Levingston was there as well. But he got away from a couple of Seahawks before they finally corralled him.
Good pressure by the white shirts. A lot of guys coming in there on Tim Tebow. He's able to avoid a few of them. He can't avoid all the white shirts that are after him. And these young guys are trying to get that football back for their offense so they can try and win this football game. Tim Tebow's going to learn, throw that football away, avoid that sack.
Fourth sack of the night for the Seahawks defense.
Good job by the Seahawks defense.
Seattle trying to get one more stop here defensively. Here comes the blitz. Tebow hit as he throws. No chance on that one. I think his arm got caught as that ball was coming out. Byron Maxwell coming on the blitz.
You got an unblocked Seahawk coming off his left side right in his face. And I think he tipped that ball, and I don't know if he hit his thumb. I chipped a bone in my thumb when that happened to me one time. A guy tried to block a ball, and I came off and hit his pad and missed the next 5 football games because of it.
Well, that was another good play by Maxwell, whose name we've called a lot tonight on both defense and special teams. And now Richard Sherman will try and make something happen. Backed up to the 24. Flags flying. 57 yards on the punt. Let's check out the flag.
They're going to get number 48.
During the return, holding, number 19, receiving team. 10-yard penalties from the spot of the foul. First down.
Pat Williams. Really the first time we've called his name all preseason, and he won't be happy about that.
No, he dropped a couple of balls last week in the football game. That didn't help either, so you don't want to get a penalty in this situation. And push your team back even further when you're trying to go for the go-ahead score. You have the football in decent field position when you got that ball.
All right, so Charlie Whitehurst will try it from the 21-yard line. His second possession of the ball game. Down by 3, 3:40 remaining. And he's got all 3 timeouts to work with, plus the 2-minute warning. So no need to hurry. The end around to Golden Tate. And the Broncos sniffed that one out easily. They lose 4 yards on the play. Let's send it back down to the sideline, or go back down to the sideline, where we'll check in with another guy who's playing for the first time tonight, Ben Obamadu. Thanks for joining us, first of all, Ben.
No problem. Sitting back watching these young guys, see can we finish the game out.
Well, how do you feel? I mean, you get your first action tonight.
Felt pretty good. I think that the biggest thing we want to do, I practice every day, every week. So the biggest thing is going and get some big hits on me. I think I had a couple big hits. To sit back and get some contact, really, and that's what I took from the game.
Ben, how frustrating has it been for you as an offense to really not be able to get into that type of tempo, that type of rhythm that you guys eventually want to get into? But you know you have a lot of new faces, a lot of pieces that you're working with, trying to all fit them together.
It's one of those things where we realize that the regular season is right around the corner. A lot of people may sit back and say it's preseason, but you play these preseason games to prepare yourself for the regular season. So we want to get a chance to get in the swing of things at the same time. Because we haven't been able to do that, we haven't gotten a chance to see what we really have on offense either. So it's been frustrating a little bit.
Ben, you've been around this organization for 6 full seasons now, and this is the first time there's no Matt Hasselbeck. This is Tavares Jackson's team right now. Talk about the difference in the locker room around this organization when you've got a new quarterback coming in.
I think, with Matt, it was kind of an implied confidence or implied swagger, I guess, that the quarterback position was already taken care of. Now, around the locker room, around the organization, it's one of those things that we have to keep encouraging Tavares, let him know that he's doing well. Just those little things just to make sure that he knows that he's confident as a starting quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks.
Big reception by Thomas Clayton, and a huge gain afterwards, picking up a first down across the 42-yard line. And here's a guy, Ben, I mean, a lot like you, undrafted. He's coming in, getting a chance, and he has really taken advantage this preseason. That's Clayton.
I think a lot of guys like myself and like Clayton, we understand how things go. It doesn't matter if it's the first quarter or fourth quarter. When you get in, you get a chance to make a play, make that play. So he's been doing a great job so far.
23 yards on that one. This one zipped out across midfield. Doug Baldwin making another play. And once again, here's a guy taking advantage of every opportunity he's gotten this season.
I think when you get young guys that come in that didn't get drafted or late round picks like myself, you're hungry a little bit more. So you put more time in. We understand that everything counts. So each and every day, each and every play counts. So that's what you see out of these guys playing right now.
All right, Ben, go watch the final 2 minutes of this one and see if the Seahawks can come back.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ben Obamanu. Doug Baldwin, another reception. Moving the chains once again. We're at the 2-minute warning. Seahawks down by 3, but in Denver territory.
Washington's Lottery. When you play, students win. And Top Pot, the official coffee and donuts of the Seahawks. You know, Mac, they always say it's not how you start, it's how you finish. They got a chance here.
Yeah, they do, and it's all about the win right now. You know what I'm saying? They feel good about themselves. They come out of this with a win. Go back, take a look at the film, see what the reality was in the first half, and make some corrections. But everybody feels good in the organization when you get a win.
Seahawks down 3, 2 minutes to go. Go back upstairs to Kurt and Warren.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the postgame show. And there's Tavares Jackson. Now he's rooting on Charlie Whitehurst. Did you see the game last night? Packers and Indy. Green Bay broke the unwritten preseason rule, scored a touchdown with less than a minute left, or kicked a field goal with less than a minute left to tie the game.
Did they? I didn't see that. I didn't see the whole game.
And I just screwed up what they did, but I'll explain it. I'll get it right in a second. Here's Thomas Clayton. Green Bay scored a touchdown and went for a 2-point conversion to tie the game with less than a minute left. And then got the onside kick, wound up winning it with like no time left on the clock.
Really?
Usually when you get the preseason, nobody wants to tie the game with less than a minute to go.
Nobody wants to go in overtime.
That's what the Seahawks are trying to avoid right now, so you got to believe they're going for the touchdown. Not the field goal. Here's Chris Durham to the 35. Seahawks stop the clock with 1:26 left.
I want to see Charlie Whitehurst try and drive this football down the field. He's been more apt to just throw the football underneath to little quick routes and just get the football out of his hand, which are good, but you have to at some point get some chunks of yardage down the field in order to get yourself in field goal range and also possibly get a touchdown and win this football game.
Yeah, that's what he's done really all preseason. I mean, he's averaged like 5.5 yards per completion this preseason. With the exception of the big run after the catch by Thomas Clayton, that's been the formula tonight in his limited action. This is his second offensive possession.
He does have 2 timeouts left and plenty of time, so he doesn't have to be in too much of a hurry, but at some point you want to take one of those shots down the field, not so much a deep ball, but an intermediate route. Try and maybe get a chunk of 15, 20 yards down the field.
Well, they need to 30 for the first down here. Whitehurst with time. Going deep downfield for Tate. Overthrew him. Incomplete. Golden Tate had a step on Saquon Thompson, the defensive back. But Whitehurst couldn't make the connection.
That's what I wanted to see, and he had him. Just take a little bit off of that one. He might have a big play touchdown right here because Golden definitely had a step on the defender, and that ball just went about a foot too long.
And so the Seahawks will go for the tying field goal. Jeff Reed has a 52-yarder tonight. This one from 53 yards out. It is true. And so with 1:16 remaining, we've got a tie ball game.
We just hit the Cardinals in.
Yeah. With that unwritten rule, right?
It's not how you start, it's how you finish. You know, with Tim Tebow, a quarterback, we can probably get a turnover, fumble or something like that. He's gonna make it exciting here in this last minute and 16 seconds, I'll tell you that.
Right now, with 1:16 to go, they've got 2 timeouts so they can stop the clock if they get an opportunity. Tim Tebow comes in when they get the football. He'll have 2 timeouts as well.
Got to be impressed with Jeff Reed tonight.
Yeah.
Long field goals tonight for Jeff.
Veteran kicker.
You would hope your first couple of kicks would be like 35, 40 yards. They put him out there for 52-yarder on his first one, and he nails it.
And gets a 53-yarder to tie it up. 9 years in the NFL. First 8.5 with the Pittsburgh Steelers, won a couple of Super Bowls, and then released last year, finished out the campaign with the San Francisco 49ers, and now the lone man in camp for Seattle.
You know, if you can kick in Pittsburgh, you can kick anywhere. That is a tough place to kick the football.
That field is one of the worst.
One of the worst in the league, and you got swirling winds, and it's usually pretty bad weather in the latter part of the season.
And you usually play a lot of big games as well, so you know you can withstand the pressure. Here's Reed to kick it off. Anderson watches it sail over his head. So we've only had one touchback, or one return tonight, with more penalty flags on this one.
Ricardo Lockett's going to be called for offsides on this one.
That's another one. Was that 4?
So we're going to be kicking it again. These guys are going to be gassed a little bit.
Offside, number 42 kicking team. 5-yard penalty, re-kick.
At number 2.
Yeah. I think Bill Levy's missed a couple of numbers tonight, but it's preseason for the officials too.
Well, you think in the third preseason game, just like your offense and your defense, you would have things humming a little bit by now. But the officials are having their problems tonight too.
Well, Brian Schneider's seen the good and the bad. He's seen the offside penalties. He's seen a couple of good punts, 168 yards by Ryan. He saw the great return by Doug Baldwin. He's seen some good special teams play by Byron Maxwell tonight, but he's also seen a couple of times that he just wishes that he could probably put his hand around the neck of some of these young guys.
Well, you got so many of these guys out here right now. You're just trying different combinations to see who can do what. A lot of these guys don't get a lot of time to run these during practice. So this is where they kind of make their mark for this football team, running down on these kickoffs, on these kickoff returns, punt teams. You got to stay on sides. That's not a good thing. That does not show up well in special team meeting on Sunday morning.
Well, the good news for the Seahawks, they put up 10 unanswered points here in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, the bad news, 10 penalties tonight for 72 yards. You don't like to see that.
Here's Jeff Reed to do it again, this time from the 30. David Anderson going to have a chance to return this one. Only the second kickoff return of the evening. The first one went 105 yards. This one won't even make it 25. Neil Howie on the stop. And so here comes Tim Tebow with 1:12 on the clock and 2 timeouts.
This will be good work for him as a quarterback, getting a chance to be in the 2-minute drill. I'm sure he doesn't get a lot of live work at this in practice. It'll be good for the Seahawks, these young defensive players out there as well in this situation on the road. So you can step up and make a big play on defense, maybe get this football back for the offense.
Chance for the Seahawks young defenders to show what they can do. Tebow running. And he gets out of bounds across the 40-yard line, stepping out at the 42. So Tebow doing what Tebow does, 19 yards on the run.
Well, he's not going to throw it. He's going to do it with his legs. And you just saw the defensive front kind of open up, and he just takes a lane and takes off and does the important thing. Gets great yardage, but also gets out of bounds to stop that clock.
You get the feeling everybody wants to make a decision on Tim Tebow after one season. You wonder if he gets in the right system and they work with him. Can he develop? Ball out of the backfield with running room. Lance Ball in the Seahawk territory. Boy, everybody on Seattle's defense bid on this one.
Yeah, this screen was set up perfectly. They had a good pass rush. They had a blitz coming from the outside, and it was set up. Great block over there on McCoy. And Ball just turns upfield and does what he's coached to do. Get up those numbers and make something happen off those blocks.
26 yards on the run to the Seattle 32.
They're definitely in field goal range.
Yeah, absolutely. On this night,
for Prater.
Bad snap, though. And Tebow forced to just fall down on it. That'll back him up another 5-6 yards. Clock down inside 20. Denver forced to use one of those 2 timeouts. Now only 1 remaining with 18 seconds left. So with this ball on the 37-yard line, it'll be about a 55-yard kick right now. But
yeah,
as we've seen,
it's in his range.
Yeah,
it's in all these kickers' range tonight.
He's got a 57-yarder already, does Prater. And as we said, barely missed one from 69 yards out. Looks like Prater may not be the guy. If they do, Steven Hauschka is the guy who's warming up right now on the sideline to kick this field goal.
They've both been pretty good for this football team.
And I guess you've decided you know what Prater can do tonight. Let's give Hauschka a chance, especially with, once again, cuts coming up on Tuesday.
Yeah, there's other people looking around the league. They can always find room for a good kicker.
Empty backfield from the 37. Tebow running. And Ricky Tanaris with the tackle, keeping him in bounds. Clock's now inside 10, 7, 6. And they're going to let this run down to 1 second left, 2 seconds. And give Steven Hauschka an opportunity to win this ball game. Hauschka came in and kicked last year after Prater was injured. He's now trying to keep the job.
Should probably be about a 51-yarder. They tee it up. Hardly no win right now. The flags are all pretty limp on the goal post. A little bit different than what it was earlier in the ball game.
This is when you find out about your kicker. He hasn't kicked all night long. Prater's done everything. And you finally need to send him in to win a ball game. 51 yards away. Steven Hauschka to attempt it for the Broncos.
Big time kick.
And a big win for the Denver Broncos here in this third preseason game. Pete Carroll saw his Seahawks battle back, score all 20 of their points in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't enough in the end as the Broncos get the win on a 51-yard field goal by Steven Hauschka. 23-20 is the final. We'll be back to wrap up this third preseason game where Tavares Jackson threw his first touchdown pass as a Seahawk, but it came in a losing effort. Much more on that from Denver after this.